Stop putting off those plumbing projects. Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for plumbing supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, police called in at Steertown Academy as its disgraced principal is set to be ousted by the board.
5 principals of corporate area schools prepare statement condemning flare-up of violence involving their students.
And Mona High and the Queen's School to close their doors to face-to-face classes amid rising tensions.
The BOJ governor says account portability and competition in the banking sector are hampering fiscal stability.
Due to know your customer requirements, customers may be discouraged from changing institution, even if they believe they are not receiving best rates and/or services.
Correctional officers at Horizon Adult Remand Center have resumed normal duties.
The ministry have reached out to relations for a meeting for next week. We are looking forward to that. We can arrive at some form of settlement just to appease the situation on the ground.
In news from the rest of the world, U.S. suspends visa service in Haiti.
12 New Yorkers confirmed as jurors for Donald Trump's hush money trial.
In headline sports, JFF to seek audience with Leon Bailey in aftermath of controversial interview.
And later in our broadcast, in our cover story at 5:35, the St. Andrews Central Police are on alert following reports of rising tensions caused by a feud among students from different corporate area schools. At least 2 schools have been forced to suspend classes. Principal of Mona High School, Kevin Jones, and the Education Minister, Fable Williams, will join us.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, how do you think school authorities should handle the corporate area school feud? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, the Labor and Social Security Minister, Pernell Charles Jr., says the Employment Code of Practice for Persons with Disabilities has been drafted. Legal Officer and Corporate Secretary at the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, Janelle Williams, and the President of the Jamaica Employers Federation, Wayne Chen, will join us.
At 7, a nursery is being constructed at the South Camp Adult Correctional Center for incarcerated mothers. State Minister in the Ministry of National Security, Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, will tell us more.
And at 8, it's Jamaican Dads with Dennis Brooks, Garth Williams, Marlon Campbell, and Floyd Green. All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile. Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Thursday afternoon, it's Thursday, April 18, 2024.
News at 5 is brought to you by KFC Hot Wings. Available in hot and spicy barbecue. KFC Hot Wings, a wing for the win. KFC is finger licking good.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. Nationwide News understands that a team from the St. Anne Police was called in to oversee the exit of the disgraced principal of Steertown Academy following a disciplinary hearing at the school on Wednesday. The principal, Omar Mongol, and another teacher, Andre Yeshu, were terminated with immediate effect after the board voted that the two allegedly colluded to leak Caribbean Secondary Examination Council CSEC papers to several students in 2022. Shalois Smikle has the details.
A source confirmed with our news center that a 110-page document from the Overseas Examination Commission, OEC, was sent to the Ministry of Education outlining several irregularities at the school following the sitting of the mathematics CSEC exams. A copy of the report was also sent to the board chairman of Steertown Academy. The document, which was corroborated with a list of witnesses and leaked voice notes, alleged that some candidates had access to live question papers ahead of the exams and that they were coached by their teachers before they sat the exams. Further allegations are that some students amended their scripts with the assistance of their teachers after the papers were administered. The report triggered a disciplinary hearing at the school. It's understood that Mr. Mungal and other teachers were asked to proceed on leave pending the outcome of the hearing, but he refused to do so. It's also understood that he tried to steer the process. Things came to a head on Wednesday after the Personnel Committee of the board recommended that Mr. Mungal and Mr. Yishu be terminated with immediate effect. The committee also ruled that another teacher, who was also implicated in the scandal, to be demoted, while others were to be disciplined. The board accepted the recommendations. The men were subsequently handed their letters of termination and asked to leave the compound in the presence of police officers. Nationwide News sources say several charges, including neglect of duty and failure to properly store examination papers, were also laid against them. Last year, during the height of the investigation, Mr. Mungal told our news center that the allegations against him were false.
There is no truth to the matter. We would have been improving over the years, and we took a slight increase in 2021, and this year we made a concerted effort to improve in some areas. So we would have worked hard to turn those threes that we normally get into twos and to transform the twos into one.
But when Nationwide News called him earlier last week for an update, he declined to comment on the matter. Subsequent calls to his phone went unanswered. Shaloy Smichael for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the Overseas Examination Commission OEC says it has been made aware of the decision by the board of Steertown Academy following the investigations at the institution. While it declined to comment on the matter, the commission has reiterated the importance of schools following the appropriate guidelines with regards to external examinations. Chairman of the OEC, Brian Bennett Easy, says the guidelines are instrumental in averting any breaches and guaranteeing equitable and secure testing conditions. He has further cautioned school administrators about the broader regional consequences of any deviations and urged them to familiarize themselves with the necessary protocols. The Commission adds that it has strengthened its partnership with the Ministry of Education in a bid to improve strategies and maintain order and credibility in the administration of the 2024 examinations.
Still on education, the principals of 5 prominent schools across the corporate area have prepared a joint statement condemning a flare-up of violence among students attending their institutions. The principals of Calabar High School, Mona High, Jamaica College, St. George's College, and Kingston College have described the behavior of their students as unacceptable and against the values of respect, civility, and cooperation. Nationwide News has seen a copy of the prepared statement. It follows physical altercations between students at the Halfway Tree Transport Center in St. Andrew. Dana Davy reports.
In a viral video circulating on social media, a crowd of students can be seen slapping, kicking, and punching each other in the middle of the popular bus terminal. At one point in the video, a male student is set upon by a group of boys and viciously beaten. It's alleged that the dispute stems from a disagreement over a girl from a corporate area all-girls school. Principals Wilson, Jones, Robinson, Myrie, and Campbell are seeking to assure parents and the wider public that a thorough investigation is underway to determine the facts surrounding the incident. The principals say the students involved will be dealt with according to the disciplinary measures outlined in their respective school rules. The school administrators say they're also collaborating with the police to ensure appropriate legal action is taken. The principals say the behavior displayed by the students will not be tolerated. They say acts of violence have no place in schools. The school's heads are urging parents to have open conversations with their children about the importance of respectful behavior and conflict resolution. They're also urging students to promptly report any incidents or concerns to the authorities. The principals say they stand firm in their commitment to upholding the highest standards of conduct and ensuring the well-being of all students. They're seeking to assure members of the public that they will work together to promote a culture of understanding, empathy, and the peaceful resolution of conflicts. Dana Davy for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, both Mona High School and the Queen's School have announced the suspension of classes as a result of the ongoing conflict. Mona High suspended classes on Thursday and Friday, while Queen's School will suspend face-to-face classes on Friday. Principal of Mona High, Kevin Jones, says he made the call to suspend classes in an effort to protect his students.
A lot of schools are now involved and the lives of our students are in danger. So I decided now to, send out something to all the parents, the Board of Management, Ministry, and of course to the members of staff that, listen, we will have to shut down school for today, suspend classes for today and tomorrow. The lives of students are very, very important. Some of these kids are wayward students, value system is very poor, and I don't trust that, some of these kids will come to their senses and say, you know what, foolishness is foolishness, let us stop it. So I decided to just put my students out of harm's way, so to speak, and then, remove them from the entire physical space.
Kevin Jones, Mona High School principal. The conflict was reportedly sparked when a Mona student had an altercation with a Calabar student over a girl from the Queen's School. This morphed into a wider incident involving students from multiple other schools.
The governor of the Bank of Jamaica, Richard Biles, says account portability and competition in the banking sector are hampering fiscal stability. Account portability is the ability to easily move an account from one deposit-taking institution to another. Mr. Biles says onerous Know Your Customer regulations in the country negatively affect consumers as well as the central bank's ability to tame inflation. He was addressing the Inter-American Development Bank Central Bank Governors Conference on Wednesday. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
The central bank, which has been mandated to keep inflation low and stable, primarily tackles the issue by adjusting its interest rates. It's hoped that by adjusting what the bank calls its policy rate, which is the interest rate offered to deposit-taking institutions, which keep a percentage of their currency at the central bank, they can discourage lending. However, Mr. Biles says commercial banks have responded only marginally to their attempts due to poor competition.
In Jamaica, we have found that the credit channel, which is the main channel targeted by the bank's monetary policy actions, has been quite weak. As such, we have observed that our policy actions geared at managing inflation expectations and the exchange rate channel have generally been more effective.
The problem, according to Governor Biles, is the disincentive faced by customers when transferring accounts.
Our research has shown the source of the weakness in the credit channel is primarily due to the concentrated nature of the banking system. This is evidenced by the dominance of two major network banks, which allows them to pay low deposit rates while maintaining their profit, even when subjected to monetary policy change. In addition, given the time-consuming process of switching financial interests from one financial institution to another due to know your customer requirements, customers may be discouraged from changing institution, even if they believe they are not receiving the best rates and/or services. This then constrains deposit portability.
To tackle the issue, Mr. Biles says the BOJ, in partnership with the government, is working to create a centralized database to satisfy Know Your Customer requirements. He also touted the impending National Identification System, which he says will make it easier for banks to onboard customers.
It is imperative that we improve the transmission system of the country. Jamaica has been exploring deposit portability and open banking as strategies aimed at improving competition and intermediation. BOJ has engaged with the World Bank for support, and we are in the process of developing a policy framework to promote and regulate an eKYC database for the sharing of customers' transactional and non-transactional data. The government of Jamaica is also in the process of developing a national identification system which will provide a quicker method of identity assurance and verification, thus making it easier for banks to onboard customers.
Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
You're listening to Nationwide at 5. More news after these.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is...
It's 14 minutes after 5.
Rent-to-Kill Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rent-to-Kill Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rent-to-Kill is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 30 degrees out west in Montego Bay.
Call me shrewd. I am getting in when the markets are attractively priced.
Call me smart. I am getting set to capitalize when the markets have increased potential. Call me savvy. I have a mix of wise investments, so I'm earning no matter the season.
They're all investing in Sagicor Investments Sigma Global Funds, like our US dollar Sigma Global Equity and Sigma Real Growth. Never settle for less than your dreams. Start investing now in Sigma Global Funds. Call 888 Sagicor to speak with a Sagicor Investments Wealth Advisor. Conditions apply.
Continuing the news. The 23 alleged members of the St. Catherine-based Clansman gang are to return to the Home Circuit Court in downtown Kingston on July 11 for a case management hearing. The proceedings failed to move forward on Thursday due to the absence of the majority of the defendants. Only 9 of the 23 accused were present in court as a result of a strike by correctional officers at the Horizon Adult Remand Center in Kingston. Robin Williams was in court.
The matter was slated for 10 a.m. on Thursday, but at 11:37 a.m., only 8 of the defendants, including the alleged gang leader Tesha Miller, were seated in the dock. Another defendant arrived shortly after the matter started at 11:43 a.m. The prosecutor told presiding Judge Justice Vinnet Graham Allen that efforts by the police to have the accused persons brought to court were unsuccessful. Justice Graham Allen noted that it wouldn't be prudent to continue the matter. Her frustration was evident as she issued bench warrants for the accused men who were absent. In making the order, Justice Graham Allen said, quote, "Nobody can hold this court at ransom. The rule of law prevails in this country." End quote. Justice Graham Allen told the court that she has been instructed by Chief Justice Brian Sykes to have all gang-related matters placed on the trial list. She notes that she intends to have a trial date set for the Clansman gang this year. At the next sitting, the status of the prosecution's case will be addressed and representation for some of the defendants is to be settled. The 23 men are charged under the anti-gang legislation and with other serious offenses. These include murder, conspiracy to murder, robbery, illegal possession of firearm, and illegal possession of ammunition. The Crown informed the judge that there's one other person to be joined with the accused men. It's expected that a medical practitioner, Dr. Paul Robinson, who was arrested and charged this week, will appear with the others at the next sitting. Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
The Jamaica Labour Party JLP is strongly condemning statements by PNP Vice President Ian Hales, who alleges that partisan politics is behind the distribution of water tanks to a businessman in Western Westmoreland. The businessman says the allegations by Mr. Hales have caused significant distress to him and his family. This includes them receiving death threats. Norgay Banton has the details.
In a post on social media, Hales said this:
"Wickedness can't done. Una help me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I want to ask the JLP councillor for the Little London Division, Ian Miles, and the Member of Parliament, more or less, Wilson, how the car wash across from the Jamaica Labour Party office, the constituency office in Mango Hall in Little London, how the car wash get 10 water tanks."
JLP General Secretary Dr. Horace Chang has characterized the remarks as reckless, irresponsible, and callous. Dr. Chang says the accusations by Mr. Hales have since been debunked by the businessman. The businessman, Jim, says in a video online that he purchased his tanks for over $500,000 privately.
Man, he is the owner of all these tanks. 10 of them is here, 10 of them. Yeah, and this is my receipt where I purchased these tanks. Yeah, this is, I pay for 9 of them I pay for. You can see 504,000. And I also still owe for one of the tanks them.
According to Jim, he's now facing public scrutiny and his life has been threatened.
Please to come and talk to me and hear the full 100 how it goes. Because I have been getting a lot of chat that people can come and stab up my tongues.
Dr. Chang is demanding that Mr. Hills immediately apologizes for the misinformation, denounce the threats against the businessman, and refrain from further irresponsible conduct. According to him, this matter underscores a worrying pattern by the PNP, one of fabricating information for political gain. Dr. Chang says the JLP is reaffirming its commitment to the fair and transparent implementation of the Black Tank program, which is aimed at alleviating water shortages faced by Jamaicans. Multiple efforts on Thursday to contact Mr. Hales for a comment were unsuccessful. Nora Gay Banton for Nationwide News.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success. Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, empowering entrepreneurs for a better future.
The World in a Minute. The U.S. State Department has suspended routine visa services at its embassy in Haiti. The move, announced through an official statement from the U.S. Embassy, is in response to the surge in gang violence in the country. The embassy says it's restricting visa services to expedited non-immigrant visa appointments reserved exclusively for life or death medical emergencies. The stringent criteria reflects the embassy's priority of urgent cases amid the increasing gang conflict. However, applicants must be prepared to justify their need for an expedited appointment. The suspension extends beyond non-immigrant visas to include routine immigrant visa appointments. A decision made until further notice.
In the United States, after days of questioning, a full jury of 12 people has been confirmed in Donald Trump's hush money trial in New York. One alternate has also been selected, and jury selection will continue until about 6 alternates are seated. Dozens of potential jurors were dismissed on Monday and Tuesday after saying they could not be impartial in the case. Meanwhile, prosecutors say Trump violated his gag order 7 more times, pointing to posts online. The prosecutors say Trump has on 10 occasions breached a gag order designed to stop him attacking those involved in the case. Following the proceedings, Mr. Trump lamented sitting in a Manhattan courtroom all day to attend his trial, saying he should be traveling across the country to campaign for his presidential run. Trump is accused of trying to cover up a $130,000 hush money payment to porn star Stormy Daniels ahead of the 2016 election. He has pleaded not guilty to 34 counts of fraud and also denies having an affair with Daniels.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success. Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, empowering entrepreneurs for a better future.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, the police were called in at Stairtown Academy as its disgraced principal is set to be ousted by the board.
5 principals of corporate area schools prepare statement condemning flare-up of violence involving their students.
Mona High and the Queen's School will close their doors to face-to-face classes amid rising tensions.
The BOJ governor says account portability and competition in the banking sector are hampering fiscal stability.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
News at 5 was brought to you by KFC Hot Wings. Available in hot and spicy barbecue. KFC Hot Wings, a wing for the win. KFC is finger licking good.
Do you owe the NWC? Don't worry. The NWC's Pay and Save program can help you. Yes, you can get a 10 to 20% discount off when you pay balances that are 90 days or older. And if you can't pay everything in full, you can enter into a payment arrangement. Take advantage of this great opportunity by visiting any NWC commercial office island-wide. For more information about the NWC's Pay and Save program, visit nwcjamaica.com or call 888-NWC. Conditions apply.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit accounts puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness is advising members of the public to take precautions against smoke inhalation associated with the fire at the Riverton landfill. Persons with respiratory illness such as asthma and other vulnerable groups, including pregnant women, are urged to limit exposure by reducing outdoor activities. Closing windows and doors is recommended until the air quality improves. Caregivers must look out for signs of difficulty breathing and irritation to the eyes, nose, and throat distress among infants, children, and the elderly. Members of the public must seek medical attention if experiencing shortness of breath, excessive coughing, wheezing, or tightness in the chest, and those on medication should continue to take them as prescribed.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. The Trinidad and Tobago Red Force are continuing their dominance of the Jamaica Scorpions on day 2 of the regional 4-day encounter at Sabina Park. At sports time, the Scorpions were struggling on 159 for 9. I think it's closed that time. 159 for 9 at close, replying to 432 all-out made by the Red Force. The West Indies player, Kurt McKenzie, has top scored so far with 57, while Javoy Royal is not out on 33. Brian Charles has so far taken 6 for 76, and Kyrie Pierre 2 for 32, as the Scorpions trail by 273 runs. Earlier, the Red Force added 124 runs for their last 3 wickets after they resumed this morning on 308 for 7. Terence Hines, 79, and Pierre, 43, guided the lower order against Javoy Royal, 3 for 113, and 2 wickets each to Ajay Shield and the captain Pete Salmon. At Coolidge, the West Indies Academy were slightly in control against the Barbados Pride. The Pride closed day 2 on 109 for 3 in their second innings, a lead of just 19 runs, with their captain Craig Brathwaite unbeaten on 49. At Queen's Park Oval, the Leeward Islands Hurricanes have taken full control against the Windward Islands Volcanoes. The Hurricanes closed day 2 on 111 for 2 in their second innings, a lead of 232 runs. Daniel Doram bagged 6 for 34 as the Volcanoes were bowled out for 179, and this in response to the Hurricanes' first innings 300 all out. While at St. Augustine, the combined campuses and colleges team lead the Guyana Harper Eagles by 142 runs after closing the day on 165 for 7, batting a second time. Shamar Brooks is not out 54, while O'Dane McCarthy made 56. Captain Haley Matthews produced a batting masterclass in Karachi today to guide the West Indies women to a 113-run win over Pakistan in the first of 3 one-day internationals at the National Stadium. Matthews slammed an impressive 140 with 15 fours and a 6, and the West Indies 269 for 8 of their 50 overs. Matthews got support from Charmaine Campbell 45 and Chanel Henry 23. Sadiq Iqbal and Tuba Hassan picked up 2 wickets apiece. In reply, Pakistan were bundled out for 156, and this came inside 37 overs. Hassan 25 was the top scorer. Matthews was also brilliant with the ball. She took 3 for 17, while Afi Fletcher and Zadie James bagged 2 wickets apiece for the West Indies. The second game is set for the same venue, and that's on Sunday. President of the Jamaica Football Federation, Michael Ricketts, has told Nationwide Sports that the federation could be seeking audience with national player Leon Bailey. The Aston Villa starman said in an interview on the Let's Be Honest podcast a few weeks ago that he was taking a break from international football because it was taking a toll on him. Bailey was speaking days after he was dropped from the national team ahead of the CONCACAF Nations League semi-final against the United States for breaking curfew. Bailey also questioned the professionalism of the federation, pointing to a raft of issues which he said have left him frustrated. But Ricketts told Nationwide Sports that he believes Bailey's comments were made in the heat of the moment and that he may now have a different view about taking a temporary break from the national program.
From my own perspective, I think that the coach needs to have a discussion with him. He was obviously going through a bad period, but I mean, like we have said, he has rebounded. So I think his comments were probably out of frustration, out of being disappointed. But I personally would not hold this against him forever. And I'm going to have discussions with the coach in this regard and to find out exactly how he plans to deal with it. Of course, it's the coach's decision.
Ricketts says Bailey is a very important part of the national setup, and with the Copa America and World Cup qualifiers on the horizon, his influence will be crucial.
Copa starts on the 22nd of June, so the coach is not here right now, but he will be shortly. So as soon as he gets here, we just formulate a plan and see how best we can have it addressed. But it's not something we want to linger forever. We really want to be upfront and to deal with it and have it amicably settled.
JFF President Michael Ricketts. And by the way, Leon missed a penalty today for Aston Villa against Marseille, or is it Lille, in the Europa Conference League over there in France today. But thank goodness his team still made it through to the semi-final despite the missed penalty from Bailey. And what's his name? West Ham United. They lost their game today against Bayer Leverkusen, but Mikel Antonio scored in a 1-1 draw. However, the Bayer Leverkusen team, the champions of Germany, are through on aggregate. So one Jamaican scoring, one missing a penalty. All right, our sports are going to be back with more at 6:05.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Hyundai, the home of modern, premium, affordable vehicles. Call us at 876-630-1511. The time by Hyundai is
5:32.
You didn't know that the government decreased JUTC bus fares? Yes, it's now 70 for adults, 25 for children, and 30 for pensioners. And in April, fares will go down even further to 50 for adults, 20 for children, and 25 for pensioners.
The temperature by the office of the Prime Minister is
29 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's 28 in the western city, Montego Bay.
Do you operate a business in the manufacturing or agro-processing industry? Sagicor Bank has a loan just for you. Sagicor Bank Manufacturing and Agro-Processing Loan. Borrow up to $50 million with up to 12 years to repay. Financing you can use to retool, expand, improve efficiencies, or gear up for export. Speak with a business banker today. Sagicor Bank Manufacturing and Agro-Processing Loan. Just another way Sagicor Bank is taking care of business. Conditions apply.
KFC hot wings, a wing for the win. From your taste one wing, there's just no stopping. KFC hot wings, it's finger licking, spicy or barbecue. Which one you picking? Good for have on the go. Any flex, any link. Best wing, best believer. We say the thing, long lasting flavor. We stay winning. KFC hot wings, a wing for the win. KFC hot wings, delicious, irresistible. Enjoy a 10-piece combo or 25-piece party bucket today in hot and spicy or spicy barbecue. KFC hot wings, a wing for the win.
Do you operate a business in the manufacturing or agro-processing industry? Sagicor Bank has a loan just for you. Sagicor Bank Manufacturing and Agro-Processing Loan. Borrow up to $50 million with up to 12 years to repay. Financing you can use to retool, expand, improve efficiencies, or gear up for export. Speak with a business banker today. Sagicor Bank Manufacturing and Agro-Processing Loan. Just another way Sagicor Bank is taking care of business. Conditions apply.
If you're into real estate, then you're going to love this. CliffViews Online will broadcast live from the second staging of the International Real Estate Conference and Homeowners Expo, April 19 at the Montego Bay Convention Center. The expo will be from April 18 to 20. Hear expert presentations on April 18 and 19, then explore the Homeowners Expo on April 19 and 20 with giveaways, DJs, and live entertainment. It's the perfect outing for everyone, and the admission is free. That's a live broadcast of the International Real Estate Conference and Homeowners Expo during CliffViews Online, April 19 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Montego Bay Convention Center. Only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by 2020 Jamaica and Creative Building Finishes.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Marlon Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we're all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
We've been a part of everyday Jamaican life for over 25 years. From paydays to birthdays, unexpected emergencies to anniversary celebrations, the supermarket checkout line, or paying a bill or taxes on time. Our fast, secure debit network provides reliable service so you can always depend on Multilink. Jamaican and proud, fast, secure, everywhere.
Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for staying with us and then joining us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the cover story. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Good afternoon to you if you are, on your way home listening to the radio. Hello to you if you're on YouTube. And if you're not subscribed yet, we encourage you to go on over to Nationwide 90 FM Live and subscribe. I'm seeing, Siobhan, that we're now at 10,000 subscribers on this backup second channel. So we encourage you, listener, to go on over and subscribe. In the cover story this afternoon, there's a feud among students attending corporate area schools, prominent schools. Yes, the principal of 5 of those schools have prepared a joint statement condemning a flare-up of violence among students attending their institutions. The principals of Calabar High School, Mona High, Jamaica College, St. George's College, and Kingston College have described the behavior of their students as unacceptable and against the values of respect, civility, and cooperation.
Nationwide News has seen a copy of that prepared statement, and it follows physical altercations between students at the Halfway Tree Transport Center in St. Andrew. Dana Davey reports.
In a viral video circulating on social media, a crowd of students can be seen slapping, kicking, and punching each other in the middle of the popular bus terminal. At one point in the video, a male student is set upon by a group of boys and viciously beaten. It's alleged that the dispute stems from a disagreement over a girl from a corporate area all-girls school. Principals Wilson, Jones, Robinson, Myrie, and Campbell are seeking to assure parents and the wider public that a thorough investigation is underway to determine the facts surrounding the incident. The principals say the students involved will be dealt with according to the disciplinary measures outlined in their respective school rules. The school administrators say they're also collaborating with the police to ensure appropriate legal action is taken. The principals say the behavior displayed by the students will not be tolerated. They say acts of violence have no place in schools. The schools' heads are urging parents to have open conversations with their children about the importance of respectful behavior and conflict resolution. They're also urging students to promptly report any incidents or concerns to the authorities. The principals say they stand firm in their commitment to upholding the highest standards of conduct and ensuring the well-being of all students. They're seeking to assure members of the public that they will work together to promote a culture of understanding, empathy, and the peaceful resolution of conflicts. Dana Davey for Nationwide News.
Thanks, Dana. Meanwhile, the St. Andrew Central Police say they're monitoring several high schools, the high schools you just heard, condemning, or rather the commanding officer for the police division, Senior Superintendent Marlon Nesbitt. He says they're in contact with the administration of the schools that are being observed.
We have some issues that started earlier this week, or from last week into this week, with some schools involved. Mona, Calabar, JC, Queens High School. It's a right cross section, so we have incorporated our CSS headquarters to assist us based on a cross-border situation as it is. We have reached out to several of the administrators at these schools.
That's Senior Superintendent Marlon Nesbeth. He's the commanding officer for the St. Andrew Central Police Division. He says there'll be an increased police presence in the halfway tree area. Well, to discuss this further, we're going to be joined by Minister of Education and Youth, Favour Williams, and the principal for Mona High School, Kevin Jones. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Hi. Good afternoon, Mr. Brooks. Could I say congratulations on your promotion?
Thank you, Minister. Though I don't know that Tonna would like to hear that my move to Nationwide at 5 is considered a promotion. But thank you, Minister.
Sure.
Minister Williams, your reaction to what is taking place?
Well, obviously, it's one of disappointment. We came out of the pandemic with when the children came back to school with behaviors that we all were alarmed at. We've worked with our various administrators at the different schools. We've added extra initiatives into schools and so on. And we saw some results. But obviously, it's telling us that we still need to keep those initiatives in school, keep them strong, to always remind our students about the fact that they are ambassadors for their schools, and whatever they do outside of the schools does reflect on the school. We have to keep reminding them of that. What we saw in that video yesterday was obviously not a reflection of what I know is taught within the schools and the behaviors that we would like to see in society. Mm-hmm. So my primary emotion has been one of disappointment. And obviously, I stand with all the principals in strongly condemning the violence, the fights that we're seeing.
Mm-hmm. And Kevin Jones, has it reached to a level that it's so serious now that you have to suspend face-to-face classes?
Right, because what you have to do, given the situation that is happening, you have to de-escalate. So we suspend classes with the sole objective to de-escalate. Mm-hmm. But the situation is very fluid. Other schools are getting involved. The last video I saw this morning, a young man was stabbed, and I heard that he was taken to the hospital. And also, on Monday afternoon, when the incident happened at the transport center, one of my boys was hospitalized. So it is that serious, to answer your question.
Yes.
And when you have more than, 50, 60 students gathered in one space and they're all fighting each other, that's a serious cause for concern. And let me tell you, what I saw, I was very disheartened. And Minister said she was disappointed. It's a situation that we have to grab hold of immediately and try to bring back some normalcy among schools and in schools.
And let me just be clear, because my younger colleagues tell me that this is about or over a girl. Is that your information?
What I have gleaned so far, I've spoken to one of the boys who perhaps he has knowledge of the situation.
Yes.
He wasn't involved in the thing, but apparently he's friend of one of the boys who was attacked at the transport center in Half a Tree. So there's a young girl at Queens, and apparently she was involved with this young man at Calabar. I understand that they are no longer together. Apparently she would have ended that relationship to be in a relationship with one of my boys. And so, a message was sent to my student to say, listen, back off. It's my girl. This is what I've been told. And so 5 of them now after school, they went to half a tree. That's where they normally go to take transportation home. Anyway.
Right, a central point.
And they were accosted by about 20 boys from Calabar. 3 of them ran off because, according to them, it's a sizable group. They couldn't manage them. And so they started beating the other 2, one of whom is the young man who is involved with this young lady from Queens. It's very disheartening. It's very sad. And some of these teenagers, they need some sort of, they need some sort of training where conflict management is concerned. But to tell you the truth, the school in itself is a microcosm of the wider society. I mean, people don't want to talk things over. Everybody is pushing violence, and there's no natural affection. And the value system is declining rapidly. And I think what we're seeing is just a manifestation of the lack of values in our society. And it's very sad that even our children are portraying this sort of behavior at school and also within the public space.
Stay on the line, Minister Williams, Principal Jones. We are up on a break.
Clearing personal, non-commercial shipments at the port? Avoid the wait. Request a contactless clearance through your agent today. It's more efficient. It's secure. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
5:45.
Does your bra ride up your back? Do your shoulders hurt from carrying the weight of your breasts? These are signs of an ill-fitting bra. When was the last time you were fitted by a bra fit specialist? The bra experts at LaBelle Femme will take care of you. Drop into the store at 53 Lady Musgrave Road, Tuesdays to Saturdays from 10 to 5, and you will see the difference. Or call 876-622-6091.
When I grow up, I'm going to be a famous gamer with viral videos all over the internet. I'm going to be rich. Good thing I'll already know how to take care of my money since Mommy got me this Sure Start account.
Open a CIBC Caribbean Sure Start account for your kids and give them a head start on financial smarts with a $1,200 sign-up bonus from us. We believe in their dreams as much as you do, so let's get them going together. Start young, start strong with Sure Start from CIBC.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. You're tuned into the cover story, and if you haven't heard, there's an ongoing feud involving students of several schools across the corporate area. In fact, this feud has resulted in at least 2 of those schools, Mona High School and the Queen School, deciding that they're going to suspend face-to-face classes. Principal Jones of Mona High telling us in an effort essentially to cool tensions. Yeah, now, Minister Williams, I think Principal Jones put his finger on it when he says that, look, students now, they represent what's happening in the broader society, and there's urgent need for intervention. I know you'd spoken to that when we were coming out of the worst of the pandemic, and you talked about what you were seeing in terms of some of the maladjusted behaviors. But isn't your job and the ministry's job so much more difficult now, because you have, on the one hand, the matter of teaching and learning, and then on the other, all these behavioral issues to attend to?
Absolutely. Well, yes, it is. It makes all of our jobs, principals across the length and breadth of Jamaica, more difficult. It was only last December that we announced a new initiative in schools, and this came to us from our deans of discipline, where they asked us to create a unit in our high schools of the classroom teacher, the school nurse, the dean of discipline, the guidance counselor, the principal or vice principal, and bring those persons together to better enable the services that we bring to our children, that we that we are imparting to our children about discipline at school. Whereas before, these persons acted independently. We're saying to them, come together on behalf of the student. So you can bring your collective knowledge, your understanding, to be able to help the students navigate this difficult world. They are students growing up. They're still understanding their emotions and so on. They still need guidance on how to interact properly with each other. That has been in place. And other initiatives, the Restorative Justice Initiative that has reached many, many schools across the system together with the Ministry of Justice. We have our own safety and security department in the ministry, and that spans also the length and breadth of the system. A number of different initiatives we have in school, uniform groups, and all of that. I'd love to see more uniform groups all over, because I know they help to teach discipline as well. So a number of initiatives are there. Principal Jones can tell you and other principals. But ever so often you have just this breakaway in terms of behavior.
Let me go back to that joint approach where, officers in the school, come together to form something sounding like a council or a committee. What's the feedback that you've gotten in terms of how successful that approach has been?
Well, it's early days yet. I remember it was just December. We're in April. So a full assessment has not been done of the initiative just yet. But in discussing it does sound that it can work more effectively than all of them working separately together. But I'm sure before the end of the school year, we will have a proper assessment to look and see what has worked, and if there are changes needed, then we are very open to doing that.
Principal Jones, what has been the word and the feedback from the parents of the students involved in regards to this instance?
Well, on a wider scale, parents are fearful. If you're a parent and you have a child attending school and they use the public transportation system and you watch the video, you're going to become scared. It's natural human, tendency, right? And perhaps they want to maybe take some sort of action in finding some other means of transportation, the ways and means of getting their kids to school. But the thing that I want to make clear is that the two Mona High School boys who were attacked by the Calabar boys, they're victims. They weren't the ones who started this sort of thing. And we have over 1,500 students at Mona High School. So it's only two of our boys who got in that sort of mess. And as I said before, I had a meeting with one of them yesterday. The other one, I haven't seen him as yet, but we managed to contact other persons and we got some information. So the mood is parents are very cautious. I sent out a message this morning to them. I said, parents, you're going to keep your children home. The lives of our students are precious at this time. Because that's what is paramount at this time. You have to remove kids out of the danger zone and to de-escalate. And what it does too is that it gives us some space and some time to kind of plan with other principals and the police and to, put our hands and heads together and strategize as to how we deal with these students coming into the physical space on Monday.
And you've given them 2 days, to cool off, as it were, ease the tensions. But obviously...
And to communicate too.
Right.
Because, we'll be sending out correspondences to parents as well. And we invite parents to send us any information that they may have and perhaps even report it to the police. So just the mere fact that the students are not, in transit.
Right.
They are away from the whole, issue.
But Principal Jones, that the honor of high schools, as it were in Jamaica. Hello? Principal Jones?
Seems that you dropped.
Ricardo,
yes,
can I say,
yes,
I know you reported on the joint statement that was put out and signed by 5 principals.
Yes, Minister.
I've spoken, not to all, but to some of them. And they wanted to be known that they're simply standing in solidarity with their colleague principals, not that there were children or students from their particular schools that were involved. So I just wanted to clarify that. But they understand that this is easily spread to other schools, so they want to make it known that they condemn what has happened.
Yeah. And Principal Jones, so you've given them the opportunity, over 2 days, and obviously you're hoping that come Monday morning the tensions will ease, but you know that the honor of high schools, there's a sense of pride, and so if one is attacked, then the school community feels that the school community is attacked. How are you going to ensure that doesn't happen, that the Mona High students broadly don't feel that they have been attacked as a school community and so they need to respond? You think just the 2 days will be enough to settle that?
Well, it's 2 plus Saturday and Sunday, making it 4. That's actually 4 days.
All right.
That's one. Number 2, it really starts from the home.
Yeah.
So we are encouraging the parents to sit with your sons and your daughters and talk to them about how to manage conflict, and to be careful with whom you walk, be careful what you post in social media, be careful where you go. I mean, we're counting on the parents to talk to their sons and daughters. We will do that sort of reinforcement when they come in on Monday.
Yeah.
And then after General Assembly, I'll address them on Monday, which I normally do. And after that, now they will move to form time, and their respective form teachers will talk to them. We'll continue to share the same message. And we're going to have some breakout sessions with the guidance counselors speaking to them about conflict management, conflict resolution. And this is not a one-off thing, because it is something that is already timetabled, because we have the health and family life education curriculum that we offer, and we have the guidance and counseling program. And then we have the form teachers, as I said, offering that sort of pastoral care. So we're counting on the parents, as I said, and when they come to school, we do our best. That sort of behavior that you see, among the students in the public space, it doesn't happen within our schools. It doesn't happen at Mona High School. So, you see, wherever you have a bunch of teenagers unsupervised, like what you saw in the video, they are bound to make poor choices. And I've always told my teachers that. And this is just, a true reflection of what it means when teenagers are on the loose with nobody to supervise them.
And Minister Williams, I'm happy that the principal raised those 2 points regarding the home and the flashpoint that sometimes exists outside of schools. First, on the matter of the home front, it seems unfortunately that schools have replaced in many instances the home as the primary caregiver for students. I understand the ministry has started a program for essentially teaching parents how to properly parent. How has that gone?
That's going very well. If you look at the numbers of parents, if you look at the number of parents that we've been able to reach in terms of providing these sessions to them. But we recognize that this is going to have to be an ongoing, relenting effort to continue the conversation with our parents, to give them skills, to help them with their own behavior, as well their own interaction with their children, because children live what they learn, as the popular song says. And if they are treated with aggression at home, they will act out the same aggression abroad. So it's going to take us continuing effort as we have these sessions with our parents to help them to deal effectively with their children.
And the transport center, I mean, you can't avoid it. It's a major point of convergence and quite a big flashpoint for many of these corporate area schools. Do we have a program in place where that is constantly monitored by the what's it called? The division of the Ministry of Education.
Safe Schools.
Yes, the School Safety Initiative.
Well, given this situation, we're going to have to put that in place. We're going to try to have to look to see how best we can sustain something like that. We have to call on the JCF as well and other security that's in the transport center to at least ensure that they're visible and can respond to to any disturbance in the air that's there.
All right, Education Minister Favour Williams, Principal of Mona High School, Kevin Jones. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you too.
Thank you for having us.
No problem, and we hope that this matter is escalated. As you heard from the Minister of Education, the principals of those 5 schools are saying their students were not necessarily involved, but they thought it important to sign on to the joint statement to show solidarity and to ensure that their students do not get involved in this kind of thing.
It's an important message to send.
Indeed. Yeah, the headlines are next.
Cover Story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Say hello to peace of mind and goodbye to worry with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider Plan and secure your medical expenses in the event of critical illness today. Call 888-367-5433 for details.
The time by Guardian Life is
6 o'clock.
Upgrade your kitchen and bathroom to the next level with Unique Living. They're the ultimate destination for all your kitchen and bathroom needs, from luxurious shower systems to exquisite faucets, vanities, sinks, toilets, closets, and more. They have it all. Visit shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10, or call them at 876-755-3661. Elevate your space with Unique Living, where quality meets expectations.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Nationwide News understands that a team from the St. Anne Police was called in to oversee the exit of the disgraced principal of Steertown Academy following a disciplinary hearing at the school on Wednesday. The principal, Omar Mongal, and another teacher, Andre Yeshu, were terminated with immediate effect after the board voted that the two allegedly colluded to leak CSEC papers to several students in 2022. More in this report. A source confirmed with our news center that a 110-page document from the Overseas Examination Commission, OEC, was sent to the Ministry of Education outlining several irregularities at the school following the sitting of the mathematics CSEC exams. A copy of the report was also sent to the board chairman of Steertown Academy. The document, which was corroborated with a list of witnesses and leaked voice notes, alleged that some candidates had access to live question papers ahead of the exams and that they were coached by their teachers before they sat the exams. Further allegations are that some students amended their scripts with the assistance of their teachers after the papers were administered. The report triggered a disciplinary hearing at the school. It's understood that Mr. Mongal and other teachers were asked to proceed on leave pending the outcome of the hearing, but he refused to do so. It's also understood that he tried to steer the process. Things came to a head on Wednesday after the Personnel Committee of the board recommended that Mr. Mongal and Mr. Yeshu be terminated with immediate effect. The committee also ruled that another teacher, who was also implicated in the scandal, to be demoted, while others were to be disciplined. The board accepted the recommendations. The men were subsequently handed their letters of termination and asked to leave the compound in the presence of police officers. Nationwide News sources say several charges, including neglect of duty and failure to properly store examination papers, were also laid against them. Last year, during the height of the investigation, Mr. Mongal told our news center that the allegations against him were false.
There is no truth to the matter. We would have been improving over the years. and we took a slight increase in 2021, and this year we made a concerted effort to improve in some areas. So we would have worked hard to turn those threes that we normally get into twos and to transform the twos into one.
But when Nationwide News called him earlier last week for an update, he declined to comment on the matter. Subsequent calls to his phone went unanswered. Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Stuart Beckford, says the 3 firefighters that were electrocuted while battling a blaze in St. Andrew on Tuesday have been released from hospital.
3 firefighters who were injured a few days ago and battling a blaze in the Greenwich Town area has been discharged from the Kingston Public Hospital. They are home with their families and they are on the road to recovery. Jamaica Fire Brigade wishes to thank the Ministry of Local Government and all well-wishers who would have, through their telephone calls, text messages and emails, would have lent support to these firefighters. So we are grateful for that. And as Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, and of course, the entire brigade wishes to thank those who would have called to express support and solidarity with these firefighters.
Commissioner Beckford says the gear the firefighters use is meant to withstand up to 14,000 volts. He says the survival of the 3 firefighters is proof that the gear was effective while they attempted to put out the fire.
The gear that firefighters wear, in particular bunker gear, those bunker gear are spec to international standard, NFPA standard, and they meet the specification that will withstand 14,000 volts. So it is our conclusion that if they were not appropriately dressed when this incident occurred yesterday, and the level of support that the bunker gear provided, we may have lost those 3 firefighters. And so the gear that they wear is designed to withstand 14,000 voltage of electric power.
Stuart Beckford, Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade. Chairman of the Jamaica Federation of Corrections, Arlington Turner, says correctional officers at the Horizon Adult Remand Center in Kingston have resumed their normal duties. The officers stayed from their duties Thursday morning due to concerns about the ongoing salary negotiations with the Ministry of Finance. Mr. Turner says a tentative date of April 25 has been set for a meeting with representatives from the ministry.
I can indicate to you that the ministry have reached out in relation to a meeting for next week, even though they had indicated that it's tentative because all the parties have not yet been appraised. But yes, we have heard from the Ministry of Finance. They are carrying out normal functions because this was communicated to them through the Deputy Commissioner of Corrections. So they are in fact carrying out normal functions now after such response from the Ministry. It makes good sense if we really arrive at something positive now as we speak. So whatever date is, we are looking forward to that just to ensure that we can arrive at some form of settlement just to appease the situation on the ground as we speak. It's long overdue.
Meanwhile, Mr. Turner says there is no merit to the claim. The strike was deliberate and may be related to the Clansman gang case management hearing that was scheduled in the Home Circuit Court on Thursday.
I would rubbish that because the fact is we have been having these issues for the past 2 years. We had a meeting scheduled for last week, Wednesday, and this meeting was abruptly cancelled without a date. So it was through good sense while we have not had this kind of action from last week. So I would rubbish this claim. I think people would be only saying this. I heard it also, but it has no merit. I would really rubbish that claim.
Arlington Turner, Chairman of the Jamaica Federations of Corrections. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shaloy Smichael. Sports is next.
Celebrate 25 years with IQ Optical, your trusted eyewear provider. Enjoy 25% off your prescription eyewear and sunglasses, April 9th to 20th. Book your appointment or take your prescription to IQ Optical New Kingston, Meta Park, or Draxall. Conditions apply.
Building wealth the smart way means you have a clear mission for your money. Specific and measurable means defining the reason for your financial goals. Achievable and realistic means keeping those goals meaningful, yet attainable. Think more retirement, less world's richest. Timely means keeping a time frame in mind so that all efforts remain focused.
Visit barita.com/opportunities for more growth coach insights.
Good evening with your sports report. I am Alric Swiby. We bowl things off with some football as Trinidad and Tobago Red Force are continuing their dominance of the Jamaica Scorpions on day 2 of the regional 4-day encounter at Sabina Park. The Scorpions were struggling on 159 for 9 at close, replying to 432 all-out made by the Red Force. West Indies player Kirk McKenzie has top scored so far with 57, while Javier Royal is not out on 33. Brian Charles has so far taken 6 for 76 and Kerry Pierre 2 for 32 as the Scorpions trail by 273. Earlier, the Red Force added 124 runs for their last 3 wickets after they resumed this morning on 308 for 7. Terence Hines 79 and Pierre 43 guided the lower order against Royal 3 for 113 and 2 wickets each for Ajay Shields and captain Pete Salmon. At Coolidge, the West Indies Academy were slightly in control against the Barbados Pride. The Pride closed day 2 on 109 for 3 in their second innings, a lead of just 19 runs, with captain Craig Brathwaite unbeaten on 49. At Queen's Park Oval, the Leeward Islands Hurricanes have taken full control against the Windward Islands Volcanoes. The Hurricanes closed day 2 on 111 for 2 in their second innings, a lead of 232. Daniel Duram bagged 6 for 34, and as the Volcanoes were bowled out for 179 in response to the Hurricanes' first innings 300 all out. While at St. Augustine, the combined campuses and colleges lead the Guyana Harpy Eagles by 142 runs after closing the day on 165 for 7, batting a second time. Shamar Brooks is not out on 54, while O'Dane Makati made 56. Captain Haley Matthews produced a batting masterclass in Karachi today to guide the West Indies women to a 113-run win over Pakistan in the first of 3 one-day internationals at the National Stadium. Matthews slammed an impressive 140 with 15 fours and a 6 in the Windies' 269 for 8 off their 50 overs. Matthews got support from Sermaine Campbell, 45, and Chanel Henry, 23. Sadia Iqbal and Tuba Hassan picked up 2 wickets each for the hosts. In reply, Pakistan were bowled out for 156 inside 37 overs. Hassan top scored with 25 and Muniba Ali made 22. Matthews was also brilliant with the ball, taking 3 for 17, while Afi Fletcher and Zayda James bagged 2 wickets each for the Caribbean side. The second match is set for the same venue on Sunday. Now to football, as the president of the Jamaica Football Federation, Michael Ricketts, has told Nationwide Sports that the federation will be seeking audience with the national player Leon Bailey. The Aston Villa starman said in an interview on the Let's Be Honest podcast a few weeks ago that he was taking a break from international football because it was taking a toll on him. Bailey was speaking days after he was dropped from the Jamaica team ahead of the CONCACAF Nations League semi-final against the United States for breaking curfew. Bailey also questioned the professionalism of the federation, pointing to a raft of issues which he said have left him frustrated. But Ricketts told Nationwide Sports that he believes Bailey's comments were made in the heat of the moment and that he may now have a different view about taking a temporary break from the national program.
From my own perspective, I think that the coach needs to have a discussion with him. He was obviously going through a bad period, but I mean, like we have said, he has rebounded. So I think his comments were probably out of frustration, out of being disappointed. But I personally would not hold this against him forever. And I'm going to have discussions with the coach in this regard and to find out exactly how he plans to deal with it. Of course, it's the coach's decision.
Ricketts says Bailey is a very important part of the national setup, and with the Copa America and the World Cup qualifiers on the horizon, his influence will be crucial.
Copa starts on the 22nd of June, so the coach is not here right now, but he will be shortly. So as soon as he gets here, we just formulate a plan and see how best we can have it addressed. but it's not something we want to linger forever. We really want to be upfront and to deal with it and have it amicably settled.
Michael Ricketts. The Jamaica Football Federation today announced a partnership with marketing agency 876 Stream to the tune of $200,000. Under the agreement, 876 Stream, which is also a partner of the Jamaica Premier League, is expected to promote and market the Federation's programs, with emphasis on the 2026 World Cup campaign, which kicks off on June 6 at the National Stadium against the Dominican Republic. JFF President Michael Ricketts says the successful 1998 World Cup campaign benefited largely from sustained public awareness, and now in the internet and social media age, he believes 876 Stream can do it this time around.
We thought about it long and hard, and we took the decision that marketing is very key to the success of this program. So we would have engaged 876 Stream with the hope that we'll be able to get the word out, have the program branded, and the end result hopefully will be that we will be at the World Cup.
Michael Ricketts. Conrad Matheson is CEO of 876 Stream, and he says they are confident of replicating for the national program that which they have done for the Premier League.
We looked at it from first standpoint that we look at what happened with Jamaica Premier League, which is what we have been working with for the last 2 years, trying to help them to garner sponsorship and help them to market the league. And as you maybe have seen, that has happened. We have seen major sponsors come on board. We have seen people come into Sabina Park in the playoffs and very excited about the game. And we said to the national program, JFL, say, hey, what, maybe now is a good time for us to leverage this kind of excitement. You are winning, things are happening. We look at what is happening with Jamaica Premier League. Maybe now is the best time for us to leverage this, our skill, and what is happening with the Jamaica football program to leverage the sponsorship and the private sector and also Jamaican people to come out and support. So that's why we thought it was a very good opportunity to pull this together.
Conrad Matheson. Now at sports time, Edith Dalton James and Homewood Technical are currently locked at 0-0 in the semi-final 2 of the Issa Tip Friendly Society Schoolgirl Football Competition at the Prison Oval Field. In the first semi-final, Andreen Smith scored a double in Excelsior's 4-0 win over Garvey Masia. Jada Lee Bryan also got on the score sheet for Excelsior. Liverpool and West Ham United today became the third and fourth British teams in 2 days to be dumped from European competition. The Reds' hopes of a famous comeback were thwarted as they bowed out of the UEFA Europa League at the quarter-final stage despite a 1-0 victory at Atlanta. Jurgen Klopp's men faced an almost impossible task following a shock 3-0 home defeat in the first leg at Anfield, and so it proved Atalanta 3-1 on aggregate. The Merseyside club got off to the perfect start on 7 minutes when Salah netted his 24th goal of the season from the penalty spot.
He scored 6 of his 8 penalties this season up against Musso. Can Liverpool give themselves the perfect start here? Their all-time top scorer in European competition paces it out with purpose. Can he keep his cool? It's Salah for Liverpool. It's 1-0 to Liverpool with less than 7 minutes on the clock. Just what they needed. They're back in the tie.
Meanwhile, Roma beat AC Milan 2-1 to complete a 3-1 aggregate win. Marseille were 4-2 winners in a penalty shootout against Benfica, following the French side's 1-0 victory in a tie that finished 2-2 on aggregate. And newly crowned Bundesliga champions Bayer Leverkusen reached the semi-finals and stretched their undefeated run in all competitions this season to 44 matches. The German side drew 1-1 at West Ham in the second leg of their quarter-final tie and went through 3-1 on aggregate. And finally, the Jamaica Paralympic Association, the University of the West Indies, and the Commonwealth Games Federation are partnering in a camp for several para-coaches and athletes from the Caribbean and Falkland Islands. The attendees are participating in the GAPS Gather, Adjust, Prepare, Sustain Caribbean and Americas program underway at the UWI Faculty of Sports, Mona campus. JPA President Christopher Samuda says hosting the first GAPS is a tremendous milestone.
The Jamaica Paralympic Association supports the Commonwealth Games Federation's GAPS program
For the JPA is in the business of revolutionizing thoughts and changing positively attitudes towards the able with a difference. And we are also in the business of creating mindsets that empower aspirations of para-athletes. We believe that camps such as the Americas and Caribbean Gaps Camp allow para-athletes and coaches to bond, make enduring friendships, and challenge themselves to be extraordinary, to make possible the impossible, and to become the very embodiment of greatness.
Samola says the JPA looks forward to hosting more of these camps.
Our hosting this camp is a result of the collaborative work, commitment, and support of our partners, the Commonwealth Games Federation, UK Sport, and UWI. Their drive and passion have been inspirational, and we know that this historic experience will mark the first of many camps that the Jamaica Paralympic Association will host in Jamaica.
Christopher Samuda, UWI President Professor Denzel Williams, in emphasizing the business of sport and the importance of the GAPS camp, impressed upon the attendees the imperative of building capacity in the region and the exporting talent for value. I'm Alex Ribi, and that's your sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:20.
Welcome Deluxe, the cream cracker that rises to the top. So crisp, so light, so buttery. When you're good, you're just good. Hey, had the national flavor. You go want to buy this pack. So good, it's just so good. Welcome Deluxe, the cream cracker that rises to the top. So crisp, so light, so buttery. National Baking Company, just so good.
The Leaders Conference of Choice is back on site at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel and online. Register now for Middle Managers Leadership Conference. Call 876-978-60012 or visit www.makeyourmarkgroup.com. Sponsored by Make Your Mark Group, Caledonia Outdoor Advertising, Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, JPS, Intelligent Multimedia Limited, Monographic Printers, Main Event Entertainment Group, Nationwide News Network, and Visual Tech Solutions. Middle Managers Conference, May 1 to 2, 2024. Sign up at www.makeyourmarkgroup.com.
I stay locked to the Olympics because, of course, I'm Jamaican. What you mean? Me, I have to tune into the Olympics, man. Because I'm always busy, but what? I have to know when Sherika Jackson beat Shakari.
Brother, I have to have every notification for the Olympics. I want to hear every run.
Now Sherika Jackson coming
every jump.
Oh, that is absolutely huge of Wade Pinkham.
Every fling, live.
So, take us then.
Nothing can miss me.
We're always on the move.
So while we're driving, run, Elaine, run.
Jogging. Yes. Run, Watson. Win again.
Watson is now a world champion.
Or even at work.
Quick. The race has started.
We can't miss a beat because we keep it locked
to the only station
for the Paris Olympics.
Nationwide.
90
FM.
Nationwide 90.1, 90.3, 90.5, 90.7 and 90.9, and on YouTube at Nationwide 90 FM Live. Nationwide, the new revolution in media.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robianne Williams. It's a Thursday evening. Yep, a special one going to our friends on our YouTube platform. Thank you for tuning in. You know, as always, we want to hear from you, so we ask you to comment live in the comment section on today's Public Opinion. And it's an unfortunate incident, some unfortunate incidents that we've seen circulating on social media in the space. We've reported the matter during, our newscast at 5. The principals of Calabar High Mona High, Jamaica College, St. George's College, and Kingston College have described the behavior of their students as unacceptable and against the values of respect, civility, and cooperation. Now, this follows a flare-up of violence among students attending their institutions. In a viral video circulating on social media, a crowd of students can be seen slapping, kicking, and punching each other in the middle of Halfway Tree Transport Center in St. Andrew. At one point in the video, a male student is set upon by a group of boys viciously beating him. It's alleged that the dispute stems from a disagreement over a girl from a corporate area high school. All girls high school, that should be. And there was also another incident earlier this week on Malines Road where a student was stabbed by another. Some very unfortunate incidents. So in public opinion today, we're asking, how do you think school authorities should handle the corporate area school feud?
Do you know in a general? Maybe you find out what is the root cause and you ask them if they're interested in solving it. And if they are interested in solving it, you use a multi-agency approach to solve it. But if they are not interested in solving it, you take them before the court. I mean, I don't know, boss. I don't know.
The views of one respondent there. We go now to our social media platform. If you're just joining us, we're inside the court of public opinion. And the question we're putting to you, how do you think school authorities should handle the corporate area school feud that we're seeing now happening? On our X platform, Don O'Mealy says, round them up and give them a tour of the GP in Spanish Town or the bottom of Tower Street, and lastly out of Spanish Town Road. And he's saying choose one out of the three. Wow. Elon Musk admirer says wet them up. Grace Davidson says lock up their parents. Wow. On Instagram, Jet Slate believes we should punish those who are causing the problem. And on Facebook, Philip Jackson says, first of all, the root of the problem being in the home, parents and guardians must take the first responsibility. School comes second in the regard that the type of children we send to our school makes the job of the school more manageable. Children must be children. Parenting is what you are. Parenting is what you are, is what you get. That is why God gave each child two parents. It means guidance. Okay, wow. Prince Wellington says, let me see if I can get that one. Send Faithful to referee them. Wow, Prince Wellington. Beverly Barrett is questioning, what about their parents? Mark Julia says, put young police officers who have experience in counseling at the corporate area schools. Maybe the youth will communicate better with the young officers and then a change will come for the better. Edney Powell says they don't have no behavior and it's their parents who should deal with it. These coming from the home. Natalie Winter says positive policing and police youth clubs and skills training opportunities. All right. Christopher Isaac says offer them a school uniform break, just sneakers and jeans perhaps. To each his own opinion. CJ says punishment. Michelle Bernard says once the feud starts, an unknown person just jump in and whip and beat everyone involved. If it was only that easy, Michelle Bernard. Winston says arrest the offenders or aggressors and try them in court as adults. Well, they often say deterrence, sentencing and those stuff are not deterrence. So this part where you're suggesting arrest the offenders or aggressors, well, and try them in court, to each his own opinion. If you're just joining us, we're putting the question to you. How do you think school authorities should handle the corporate area school feud? I just want to say that this, I don't know, man, this has been ongoing violence in our schools for a very long time, and it's just a sad case. It's just a real sad case, and oftentimes you think to yourself, oh, them children are worse than the ones before. But it's a cycle, and it happened in our time, and it's happening now. And it's just, we have to find a way to curb. We have to find a way to curb it, because what's happening now is as they would normally say, it's a spin-off of what's happening in society, what's happening now in our schools. Let me see if I can get in some of the comments on our YouTube platform. Sharon Forbes says them need some good lick. M Jam believes that it starts at home. Too much focus on sex and more sex. No wholesome example of true love and healthy relationship. Kirk says just have the police concentrate in the areas where these students gather and do random searches until it subsides. And I think that's a reasonable suggestion, Kirk. To have the police be in the areas, especially in Halfway Tree, the transport center, where, when at evening time, afternoon time, and school finish, you don't want to see out there. So, Chief of Staff says these kinds of behavior by these young teenagers are just a reflection of the home and communities. Kodak Styles is of the same view. If our homes and communities have become less than the national anthem and pledge, God help our teachers and schools. That's a quote from Kodak Styles coming from you there. Nathan Gale said jailhouse for them. It is simple. Let me see. SKV Wall says this did not happen at school. Leave it to the parents and the police. But they're students and they're fighting in their school uniforms. It has something to do with the school. But I acknowledge your comment there. Let me see. Fully Disclosed says send them to counseling. Nathan Gale again saying send them to jail. PB believes that they need strong counseling. Yeah? Strong discipline. That's what they need. Derek Lewis says social media run things with these kids. Who am I? Says no real estate developer puts... Okay, I don't know what you're referring to there. You're responding to somebody. Donna Llewellyn says social workers in school to liaise with the home. Bali says charge the parents and guardians for the students. So many suggestions, and we welcome them. It's the court of public opinion, and we welcome them. It's just a sad case, because you send out your picnic to schools. Some of these children may not even be involved and end up get hurt. Like me not understand. I find it hard to believe how you can just pick up a bicycle. One of the videos we saw where a student literally pick up a bicycle and throw up on the next youth. Like, wow. Like, me not understand. Me not know. Maybe it's me grow soft or something. But I never yet fight. Me never yet fight. Not even with my siblings. But it just look and seem and make me feel terrible. Oh boy. Let me see. Untitled Project says it's hard to hear about these things like this happening in schools. They should be handled within a comprehensive school-based court system, giving our young lawyers some early practice. Winsome Smith says put them in black at school when they do wrong, but that has been happening. Winsome, I think that has been happening for quite a while. Whenever you fight, you wear school uniform, then put you in a black or some other color, for it to stand out of some sort. That I saw that during my years at high school. Let me see if I can get in a few more. MS says the parents didn't commit the crime. All right, there you go. Pablo believes that we should bring back the rod. Marcus the best. The thing about it's just parents' fault. Okay, I can't say that on air. The parliamentarians, old men and women, are indisciplined themselves. The politicians, them parents' fault. Keep ignoring. Okay. Ega says give the students so much tests and homework that they'll, but some of them not even not do that. Them not do no tests, them not do no homework, them not do, I don't know, man. And I'll end here. Lamore Hines says the future is clearly in trouble. Future leaders. Ah boy, me not tell no lie. It painful. It painful as a parent. It painful to see these things happening, and I can just only imagine the parents of these children at this time. Thank you guys so much for participating in Public Opinion. We hope we can have a calm to this storm real quick. Remember, you have the option of agreeing and or disagreeing, as you're entitled to your own opinion. Do stay tuned rather for the business report up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Annual eye examinations not only assess your vision but may be life-saving. Eye tests may detect serious health issues that go beyond your vision. Call IQ Optical to schedule your comprehensive eye test today.
The temperature by IQ Optical is
28 degrees Celsius in Kingston and also in Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. Tropical Battery Company Limited has advised that Tropical Mobility, an electric vehicle dealer, has signed a Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) with Santo Domingo-based Zero Emission RD to provide service on Tesla electric vehicles in Jamaica. Under the terms of the MOU, Zero Emission RD and Tropical Mobility will cooperate on training and technical support to facilitate the delivery of world-class service to battery electric vehicle drivers in Jamaica. This includes Tesla owners who have not had a local service option until now. Further afield, Google has sacked 28 workers who took part in protests against a deal the technology giant has with the Israeli government. Google has a joint contract with Amazon worth $1.2 billion called Project Nimbus, which provides Israel's government and military with cloud computing and AI infrastructure. Employees affiliated with the protest group No Tech for Apartheid staged sit-ins at the company's New York and Sunnyvale, California offices. Google said Project Nimbus is not directed at highly sensitive, classified, or military workloads relevant to weapons or intelligence services. Google said protesters were disrupting offices and were physically impeding other employees' work and preventing them from accessing facilities. The dismissals escalated long-standing tensions between the company and employees opposed to supplying technology to Israel's government. And finally, the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 156 Jamaican dollars and 57 cents to buy $1, 193 Jamaican dollars and 61 cents to buy £1 British pound, and 115 Jamaican dollars and 29 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. I'm Robianne Williams. Good evening.
We've been a part of everyday Jamaican life for over 25 years. From paydays to birthdays, unexpected emergencies to anniversary celebrations, the supermarket checkout line, or paying a bill or taxes on time. Our fast, secure debit network provides reliable service so you can always depend on Multilink. Jamaican and proud, fast, secure, everywhere.
Celebrate 25 years with IQ Optical, your trusted eyewear provider. Enjoy 25% off your prescription eyewear and sunglasses. April 9th to 20th. Book your appointment or take your prescription to IQ Optical New Kingston, Meta Park, or Draxall. Conditions apply.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
As a parent, you give your children a good start in life. You nurture, protect, and guide them. Parenting is a process that prepares your child for independence. As your child grows and develops, there are many things you can do to help your child. Stay tuned to The Big Show, nationwide this morning, for parenting tips. Fridays at 6:53 a.m. Only here will you learn everything you need to know about parenting. Tips to help parents navigate the incredibly challenging and rewarding journey of child rearing. Parenting tips on Nationwide at 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's Word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
The Oasis is brought to you by Solar Tech Jamaica. We use the gift of the sun to power our world.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Alan Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we are all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Welcome at 6:40. Time for the nation's business. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Good evening, listeners. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
We're turning now to the Draft Employment Code on Practice for Persons with Disabilities. Labour and Social Security Minister Pernell Charles Jr. says the Employment Code for persons with disabilities has been drafted. The Code of Practice forms part of the provisions under the Disabilities Act. It allows the Jamaican Council for Persons with Disabilities, JCPD, to formulate codes of practice which are practical guidelines on how society can accommodate persons with disabilities in different areas addressing their rights.
Minister Charles Jr. says the Employment Code of Practice for Persons with Disabilities will be reviewed this financial year to facilitate its implementation. He says the code will provide a valuable source of guidance for employers in learning and understanding how to treat and relate to persons with disabilities from the point of recruitment to retirement. The minister added that members of the Disabilities Rights Tribunal have been appointed and are ready to go.
The Disabilities Act was passed in Parliament in October 2014. It makes provisions to safeguard and enhance the welfare of persons with disabilities across Jamaica. It also protects and promotes equal rights for the disabled and prohibits discrimination against them. Well, joining us to tell us some more about what's in the draft code and how it will affect employers and employees alike are Legal Officer and Corporate Secretary for the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, Janelle Williams, and President of the Jamaica Employers Federation, Wayne Chen. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Evening, ma'am.
Let's start with you, Janelle. Explain to us what is in this draft code. Have you had sight of it?
Yes, sure. So, what the code is about is a practical step-by-step guideline for employers. The code speaks to its objectives. There are also roles and responsibilities identified in the code as it relates to the key stakeholders in this process. So there are roles of the employer, there are roles of the person with a disability who is seeking to be employed. There's also the role of the competent authority, which is the Jamaica Council of Persons with Disabilities, and there is the role of trade unions. So what we have provided in this code is a step-by-step breakdown from the very beginning when employers advertise until the very end of the recruitment and selection process, so that persons know what to do and how best to accommodate an employee who has a disability.
Mm-hmm. And Wayne Chen, when we talk about accommodating a person with a disability, do you find that your members are open to, for example, the costs that may come with that, the retrofitting that they may need to do, the different software that they may need to put on computers, etc.? Are you finding an openness to that?
I haven't done a formal survey of employers. I can only speak personally.
Yeah.
As someone who has employed scores of people over the 40-odd years that I have operated my own enterprises, and continue to employ many people with disabilities, I think we need to overcome a perception that it's a net cost. Because speaking anecdotally, for other employers who have employed people with disabilities, the amount of loyalty and customer goodwill you generate when you have people with disabilities in your organization and the sort of culture of empathy and caring that it fosters far outweighs the initial costs of accommodating persons with disabilities. And I say this to say that our approach ought to be really one of public education and socialization to show that persons with disabilities can contribute meaningfully to any organization.
Yeah, if I could just go back to that point, because that's an interesting point. You talk about the amount of goodwill that it generates for the business. When you say goodwill, in terms of customers feel more inclined to spend with the business because they see a level of inclusion, my word.
I wouldn't say all customers because I don't know, but I know that in the businesses that I have operated over the years, we have had disabled people on the front line, and they have and just based on interactions with the customers caring and so on, it certainly pulls out a lot of customers. I can't say if it applies to every Jamaican, but I would say a significant enough number of Jamaicans to make it more than worthwhile.
Right, and you say so you say the benefit outweighs the cost, but
in my experience, that has been my experience.
No, absolutely, yeah. So in your experience, though, what is that cost? I understand you're saying that the benefit, as you see it, outweighs the cost, but what is that cost?
Typically, it's a little difficult to, when you speak of people with disabilities, because disabilities take many forms.
Right.
You have people who are hearing impaired, you have people who are vision impaired, you have people who are learning impaired, and so on and so forth. So I don't want to say a one-size-fits-all. What I will say is that when you build a team and an organizational culture and people with disabilities are included, I have had instances over the years where many persons who are not hearing impaired learn sign language just so they can interact better with their workmates. And you can see a change internally in the culture when you foster a more caring, a more family-like, a more empathetic corporate culture. So, as I say, it's difficult to say this is the empirical measure.
Right, but
I don't speak alone because I can think of many other organizations with a similar experience.
Let me stay with that matter of the hearing impairment. When the other staff members go to, for example, to learn sign language, is that a cost that the company takes on, or they do that on their own time?
No, there are free programs. I don't know what the state is now, but I can tell you in the past that there have been volunteers and places that have offered these services free.
Janelle Williams, you speak about the code covering from advertisement to selection. So when you deal with employees, for example, they want to recruit a new customer service representative and they find out one of the possible selections is either blind or is deaf, does the code then address the matter that they cannot discriminate against that employee under those circumstances, or potential employee, I should say?
Well, the Disabilities Act provides that an employer ought not to discriminate against a person with a disability who is otherwise qualified. So in other words, if the person is fully qualified, but the only difference between that person and someone else is that the person has a disability, you ought not to, the Act prohibits you discriminate against the person on that sole basis. So the code is following on the Act because the Act is the primary legislation. Therefore, built into the code is that fact that using your example, a receptionist, and you realize that the person is blind, an employer should not take the stance that, okay, I'm not going to employ this person simply because they are blind. That is prohibited.
But I mean, I hear that, but help me understand now. What are the factors that the code recommends to the employer that they take into account when considering employing someone with the disability? Because I mean, obviously, there's an ideal that the country wants to achieve, but then there are practical implications. So does the code recommend or advise the employer how they go about navigating that?
Yes, it does. So what we're saying to employers is that we are asking that in the code, and it becomes clear that each employer, as a part of their overall HR policy, they develop a disability management strategy.
Okay.
So that from day one, as you advertise, you indicate that persons with disabilities are welcome to apply. And then once that person applies and is shortlisted, we're asking the person with a disability to indicate the disability so that the prospective employer is able to make preparations.
So there's some amount of forward planning.
A forward planning, right.
Gotcha.
So that inclusion is facilitated from the interview process thereafter. So the code does provide a step-by-step guidance what to do, and certainly if at any point in which someone requires further guidance, they can also contact the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities. But the code does have the step-by-step guidance.
But what about scalability? Because, I mean, it's one thing to have that kind of forward-thinking planning in the place for an organization that, say, is employing 300 people and carrying in revenue in the hundreds of millions or millions versus a small or medium enterprise of just 20 people who could barely probably cover the cost of onboarding an employee that requires special needs. Is the policy scalable in that manner?
And I would say this, I believe I heard Mr. Chen earlier said that what it really comes down to is the organizational culture. Whether it's big, small, what it comes down to is the organizational culture. Once you take on an employee, costs are involved, inevitably, whether it's a person who has a disability or not. But I think if we are able to get to the point where our culture begins to be inclusive and we want to have the person with a disability within our workplace, it will make that aspect of the costing a lot easier to cope with.
Yeah. And I imagine you had consultations with employers on the code before it was promulgated, yes?
Certainly.
And what was the feedback you got?
All stakeholders were involved, so both employers and others. And if there was a willing and a positive feedback where that is concerned.
Yeah. So the draft code has been prepared. What are the next steps and how long before this code essentially becomes law?
So the next step is really to finalize the document. As you know, we do have a draft, so it's just a matter of finalizing the document. And steps are being taken to have that document brought into law this year.
And can we expect that document to find its way before Parliament? Because I realize the Act has already been passed, so this is the code. It's not necessarily a requirement that it goes to Parliament for any further deliberations. But are we going to see that?
The code is to be laid in the House of Parliament because it will form a part of the disability legislation governing Jamaica. So that will happen.
Yeah. And Wayne Chen, to our listeners, who are tuned in now, what would you say more broadly about how we as a country should start to see our fellow citizens with disabilities? Because oftentimes when we talk to members of that community, they say, boy, they feel at times that they're not seen, they're not heard, yeah, and their views are not taken on board.
And I'm sensitive to that Jamaican culture. I like to say that we in Jamaica, we don't subscribe to political correctness. So people with disabilities are going to get the first nicknames when you're in primary school,
yes,
in the communities. And this is why I say that public education and resocialization are going to be critical in any policy, because we will never have enough, and I put in quotation marks, inspectors or policemen to go out and see whether people are being treated unfairly or discriminated against. It will only end when we change our mindset. And I gave a couple of anecdotes earlier just to provide encouragement for who may be listening. The vast majority of Jamaicans work in small and medium-sized enterprises.
Yes.
Some are very inclusive, and what we're really going towards is inclusion. We want an inclusive society. We want an empathetic society. And what I'm saying is that, speaking in my own career and that of other people that I know, it also makes economic sense, because there is a well of goodwill out there. Let us put aside those who are going to taunt and tease people with disabilities, and think about the majority who look at businesses, look at the front facing of the businesses in terms of who they are interacting with. And I believe that Jamaicans are savvy enough and smart enough to patronize businesses, goods and that providers of goods and services that have a culture of understanding, that we don't just come in and try to take your money, but we come and we understand that we are part of a wider community. And I think there are sufficient numbers of Jamaicans. Not many don't care.
Yes.
And of course, there will be businesses that require specialized skills and talents that wouldn't be able to accommodate persons with special needs or disabilities. But there are many, many businesses. I operate largely in the retail sector. In retail, we have many different types of jobs that can accommodate people with special needs or disabilities. And for minimal cost, we can generate a lot of goodwill. And I'm saying that's a public appeal. And I want us to recall, that under the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, Article 27, I went and referenced it today when I knew I had to speak. There is a section under work and employment which says that the countries that have signed this convention, and I believe that every right-thinking Jamaican agrees with this, protects the rights of persons with disabilities on an equal basis with others to just and favorable conditions of work, including equal opportunities and equal remuneration for work of equal value, safe and healthy working conditions, including protection from harassment and the redress of grievances. I don't think there's any well-thinking Jamaican, whether employer, employee, or stay at home, that can disagree with that.
Yeah.
And finally from you, Janelle, the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, the JCPD, will act as the formulator of these codes, but in terms of disagreements or conflicts within the workplace regarding the arrangements for those with disabilities, will it fall on the JCPD to arbitrate those, or will it fall on another entity?
The Disabilities Act has created a complaint mechanism, and so where persons experience discrimination, whether in the workplace or anywhere, but in this context we're discussing workplace, so where persons experience discrimination in the workplace, the JCPD receives the written complaint of the alleged discrimination, and then an investigation will take place. Depending on the outcome and the findings of that investigation, the matter may be referred to a disability rights tribunal, which has been established to hear these complaints of discrimination against persons with disabilities on the basis of their disability.
And who are the members of the? I mean, you don't have to tell me their exact names, but in terms of this disability rights tribunal, are members of the disabled community part of that?
Yes. So So it is comprised of professionals because we have persons with disabilities who are professionals.
Yes.
And it's professionals across the board. So they are legal persons, they are persons in the education system, persons in like engineers that can deal with buildings and accessibility. So yes, it is a tribunal with a team of persons, and persons with disabilities are included on that panel.
Yeah. And finally, Wayne, let me ask you, you mentioned something interesting just now. You said that, you find that Jamaicans are not necessarily the most politically correct people. And I wondered if you sense any change in terms of generation, the older generation versus the younger ones. Do you sense any change in that, in terms of political correctness?
I sense that there's a younger generation that is more tolerant and empathetic than my own generation. I'm a baby boomer, and my peers tend to lament the deterioration. And even this afternoon on your program, I heard with talking about the decline in values among the youngsters.
Yes.
I think it's a mixed bag. I come across many, many young Jamaicans, Gen Y, Gen Z, all of who are more empathetic, more understanding than we ever were. So I sense that there's a change, not fast enough for my taste, but I sense there's a change.
Yeah.
And we need to grab that change and push it.
Absolutely. Let's hope that's accelerated. Wayne Chen is the president of the Jamaica Employers Federation. Janelle Williams is the legal officer and corporate secretary of the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities. Ladies, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you too.
All right. We go for the break and come back with more.
Chewy flavor with delight. It really, really nice. May I say it twice?
The time by Jamaica Mountain Peak Golden Turmeric Latte is
7 o'clock on the dot.
Call me shrewd. I am getting in when the markets are attractively priced.
Call me smart. I am getting set to capitalize when the markets have increased potential. Call me savvy. I have a mix of wise investments, so I'm earning no matter the season.
They're all investing in Sagicor Investments Sigma Global Funds, like our US dollar Sigma Global Equity and Sigma Real Growth. Never settle for less than your dreams. Start investing now in Sigma Global Funds. Call 888 Sagicor to speak with a Sagicor Investments Wealth Advisor. Conditions apply.
If you're into real estate, then you're going to love this. CliffViews Online will broadcast live from the second staging of the International Real Estate Conference and Homeowners Expo, April 19 at the Montego Bay Convention Center. The expo will be from April 18 to 20. Hear expert presentations on April 18 and 19, then explore the Homeowners Expo on April 19 and 20 with giveaways, DJs, and live entertainment. It's the perfect outing for everyone, and the admission is free. That's a live broadcast of the International Real Estate Conference and Homeowners Expo during CliffViews Online, April 19 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Montego Bay Convention Center. Only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by 2020 Jamaica.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Marlon Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we're all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Welcome back. You're listening to Nationwide at 5. It's now into the third hour, and we're moving on to a nursery being built for incarcerated mothers at the South Camp Adult Correctional Center.
Continuing the conversation essentially on building a more inclusive society.
It's interesting, yes. Yeah. It's being designed to accommodate up to 3 mothers and their infants at a time, in line with the maternal demand at the facility. The all-female correctional center currently houses 110 inmates.
Speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony on Wednesday, the State Minister in the Ministry of National Security, Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, says the nursery will be a haven for mothers to bond with their babies. The existing government policy allows mothers to bond with their infants for the first 6 months. Mrs. Cuthbert Flynn highlighted the need for a secure, safe, and nurturing environment dedicated to babies born to incarcerated women.
The nursery is being constructed at a cost of $13.5 million and is expected to be completed by June. Well, Mrs. Cuthbert Flynn joins us now to discuss further. Good evening, madam.
Good evening, Minister.
Good evening to both of you, and of course to the listeners at Nationwide.
All right. Minister, help us understand something. Before the construction of this nursery, what was the facility like that allowed for the women to bond with their babies?
Well, as you said, we have approximately at this time about 110 inmates, and I thought that there's already a great policy where the government allows women who come into the prison pregnant that they're able to have their babies, and they're able to keep the babies, those infants, with them for at least 6 months. However, they are housed in the same population with everyone. The beds, as you may know, they're very small. And so those infants, small infants, are now sharing the same space with the general population and also the same bed with that mother. So after visiting last year, I was appointed in this position last May. One of the first things that I had to do was to really, see all the different facilities, look at what the state of the facilities are, and of course to make any policy changes. And after visiting the South Camp, there was actually a mother there with a newborn infant, sharing the same space. And I, once just looking at what was happening there, I thought, well, this can't be tenable, especially for the infant, because I've always felt that a parent, if a parent makes a decision to bring a child into the world, that child should be provided with the best possible opportunity for success and also for well-being. And I thought it was not the best for the infant. As you may also know, I'm responsible for the correction facilities and also to, make the best of the rehabilitation and reintegration process to make that work. And, after coming home and reading up just a bit to see what was happening in some other countries, I recognized that there are nurseries in many other correctional facilities across the world. And I thought, well, we don't have one here, and this would be a good start to make sure that the mother and the infant have a chance to bond, and also for the safety of the baby, and for the mother to have a better chance to really bond with that child after release. They will have a good opportunity to really, possibly think about why they're there, and give them a better chance to really not end up back in the prison system.
I like the policy because, one, I think it's very progressive. So commendations for thinking this through, Minister, and actually getting it executed. But two, here's what I think is positive about it, because you mentioned that, the baby would have had to share space with the general prison population. So there's a way in which I feel like that would have created a situation almost of double punishment, that this newborn child is being exposed by virtue of who their mother would be to the harshness of a prison system. And I imagine that's part of what you were considering.
Right. Definitely. Just like you said, it's no fault when we bring a child into the world, in whatever the situation, whatever the circumstance. But I think every child or every mother who makes that decision that they're going to bring a child into the world, then that child deserves the best chance to succeed in life. And I didn't think it was, they would have had the best chance.
Yeah.
And also, when you look at, you know, the rate of persons going in and out of prisons, I also wanted to give that mother the best chance not to end up back in prison. And I think having that child, having the chance to really bond with the child in a safer space for the baby, I think it would give them a chance to reflect and think about why they're there. It would give them that chance. And again, we must remember that a lot of Jamaicans are faced with trauma. I think we are a traumatized society. And I think for many different reasons, women, men end up in our correctional facilities. And I think if it is that this can be a healing process for that mother, I think we need to give them that opportunity and that chance to heal by bonding with the baby, to reflect on whatever it is that is going on with them, to give them that chance not to get back into the penal system.
And Minister, how is access to this new nursery going to be governed? Will it be staffed by prison personnel? Is it up to the mother as to how that infant is taken care of in that nursery?
Yes, and I would leave it up to we have a new commissioner. It is well staffed now, of course, and it will be the same with the correctional officers, making sure that, you know, the baby's safe. We hope that parenting class can be afforded to these mothers as well, to give them that opportunity. There's skills training and different training going on and mentorship program in our prison system and at South Camp. And I think those things will definitely continue and will help with the rehabilitation process for these women.
How did you come to the 6-month mark as opposed to 3 months or a year in terms of bonding with the child?
Well, actually, that is the government's policy right now. So it wasn't I who came with that. That's already there for 6 months. And I think, you know, 6 months is great for breastfeeding. For me as a mother, if you listen to the Ministry of Health and what they recommend, the recommendation is really up to 6 months to breastfeed if you can. And I think maybe that was why they came up with that policy, to have the mother be able to stay with the child while they're in the correctional facility for up to 6 months, so that if it is that the mother can breastfeed, that they'll be able to do so. And, you know, at the end, that child will hopefully most times end up with a family member. And that bond will still be able to happen where that family member is able to bring that child for visits, so the mother can keep in touch with the baby.
Does daddy get to visit the nursery?
You know, I think persons are able to visit. There's visitation with family, so anyone can actually visit. So there is visitation with family members from time to time in the correctional facilities.
Yeah. And upon the expiration of those 6 months, who decides what is to become of the child? Is it the mother who gets to designate where the child ends up, or is that decision made by the state?
I think that decision, it depends. So again, in my speech, it said if the mother is capable of taking care, if she's healthy, mentally and physically healthy to take care of the child and make a decision, then that decision would be made. If it is that they have family members that would want to keep the child, then I think that is a situation that would play out. If it is that that mother does not have anyone or any family member that want to take care of the child, then I think that child will be placed in a state care. But I'm not sure of the percentage, but I think most times there is a family member who actually takes that responsibility.
What have you found to be the most pressing challenge facing the correctional institutions? Because you have a lot of challenges, and you've obviously chosen to, tackle this one, and as I said, very progressive and commendable. But what are some of the other challenges you find facing the correctional centers?
Well, I think we all know that all of our facilities are very old. They were built in the 1800s. The two main facilities that we have, Tower Street and St. Catherine. South Camp is also not as you see what it should be. If you really want to focus on rehabilitation and reintegration in our society, we have to move forward. We have to really get new prison system. And another thing for me, all of our prisons are built in communities, and so that I think is the most pressing issue that we're faced with, and I really hope that Jamaicans will definitely.
And why do you see that as a problem? The location being in communities.
Well, I'm not sure where you live, Mr. Brooks, but I don't think you would you want a prison next door to you?
I would, but I just wanted to hear you articulate.
And I think that is what Jamaicans must think about when we're thinking about moving forward.
Yeah.
Would you want a prison next door to you? Would you want a school next door to a prison? Would we want to be around a prison? And I think that is something that we must think about when we're thinking about moving forward.
So you're going to have a political question on your hand then, because if we're moving the prisons or building new prisons, there's some Jamaicans who say, boy, dirty criminal them. I'm sure you've heard the sentiment, Minister. Murderers, rapists, and the disparaging comments made about those who are incarcerated. Do you foresee that you could face blowback or pushback should you go ahead with saying, okay, we have to relocate or even rebuild some of these facilities?
Well, we're not there yet, but I think we will get there. I think this is something, as you just mentioned, progressive. And I think the question must be answered. Would you want to have schools around a prison? Would you want your neighborhoods around a prison? What would you want for yourself? And if you would not want that for yourself, why would you want that for other people? And I think we must think that way, and I think all Jamaicans should think that way.
Yeah.
Minister, on this matter of building a new prison, I know or I recall an announcement made a while back that there was going to be an intention to create a new state-of-the-art facility. Is there any update on this? Has it stalled?
Well, I don't. I would leave that to Minister Chang to really update the country on that. I know that was mentioned. I know it's something that is being worked on. And I think when the time is right, Minister Chang will definitely come out and make that announcement as to where we are and how far along are we with those plans. But it is something that I know that the minister has mentioned, and it is the way forward.
Are you satisfied with the quality of the rehabilitation programs as you found them?
Actually, I think we don't speak enough about the rehabilitation program that's going on in our facility. And I think that is some of the things that I would want to highlight. I think it's something that the new commissioner would want to really focus on and bring about to the public what are some of the things that's been done. We have quite a number of persons, inmates, who graduated last year, having CXC subjects. Of course, it's always easier with our juveniles to really focus on the rehabilitation part as far as the skills training that's offered, the different classes that's offered, the different skills that's offered. Of course, for inmates in our adult correctional facilities, those it's really if you want to. So you can't force anyone to take, but we have to make it where the skills.
Why not? Why not make it mandatory?
Well, it's not mandatory. They're adults, and so
right, who are in the custody of the state. I'm saying, why not make it mandatory as part of their quote unquote sentence?
Well, I think what we have to do is to make it attractive enough as far as the skills. And if it is that we're looking at reintegration, we have to make sure that the skills are going to match what it is that's out there in the world. What are you coming back to? And we have to make it attractive enough. And I think those are some of the things that we're working on at this time.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned CXC, they're getting an education by obtaining CXC subjects. What are some of the other strategies that they have to, or they have a choice to enroll in?
Well, we have farming. There's lots of other skills that they're doing right now. We have they were doing mechanics block work. We want to restart that. The block factory at Tower Street. We want to start some other skills training for them. But most of the skills right now, as I said, it's really with the juveniles that the skills are, because that's mandatory for them.
And Minister, as part of the amendments to the the various criminal acts, in order to increase the mandatory minimums, one of the things the committees identified was the need for a proper tracking and monitoring for those in juvenile correctional facilities transitioning to an adult correctional facility. Has this been onboarded by the government, and how is that going to be addressed?
I think, yes, we heard those talks, and I think it's something that the minister will be looking at to see how we go about that. I know that I listened intently that evening while the conversation was being had about, that transition. You're in the juvenile, and then you move, when you turn 18, depending on your sentence, of course, you move into the adults. So I'm sure the minister will be looking at that to make whatever change that is needed.
Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn is the State Minister in the Ministry of National Security. A nursery, listeners, is being built at the South Camp Adult Correctional Center for incarcerated mothers to allow them bonding time up to 6 months with their infants. Yeah, and
thanks for the highlight.
Not a problem, Minister. It's being constructed at a cost of $13.5 million. Thank you for your time, Minister.
Up next, your calls. The numbers to call are 630-937-124 and 618-8255. Come chat with us.
Welcome Deluxe, the cream cracker that rises to the top.
So crisp, so light, so buttery.
When you're good, you're just good.
Hey, had the national flavor. You go off and buy this bag.
So good, it's just so good. Welcome Deluxe, the cream cracker that rises to the top.
So crisp, so light, so buttery. National Baking Company, just so good.
Some dreamers picture a place they call home, a house with no mortgage, a home that they own. Some dream of owning their very own store, be it a cafe or florist, or growing one into more. Where one dreams of making luxury shopping the norm, others dream of sports cars, the kind that perform. But one thing in common these dreamers all need is to build their wealth so they can achieve.
Never settle for less than your dreams with Sagicor Investments. Call 888-SAGICOR to speak with a wealth advisor.
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We are having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM.
Is that really clip you started?
Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour, fired.
Also tune into the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beanie Man. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Was Click News really talking like that?
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's Word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis, weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
The Oasis is brought to you by Solar Tech Jamaica. We use the gift of the sun to power our world.
But is this real? Hey Greg, come look at this. Oh my, it's happening. Mr. Daniels, the numbers keep getting bigger and bigger.
Sir, the clicks are off the charts.
Hello, sales? What's the emergency? 9,000 clicks in one day? 3,000 order? So how much we have left? What? I soon call you back. Mr. Nakamoto, it's Danny from Jamaica. I need 5,000 of the big ones. We're back in business.
Yes, sir. Arigato. Suene. Amplify your brand. Let Nationwide 90 FM assist you in tapping into a captivated audience across our social media platforms. For more information, contact us at 876-630-1210 or sales@nationwidenewsnetwork.com. Businesses, companies, and entrepreneurs, let's supercharge your brand.
24 minutes after 7, we're taking your calls, 630-937-124, 618-8255. You know, Siobhan, I was watching a video online, and then I went to watch the post-cabinet media briefing. Was it on Wednesday? I think it was on Wednesday. It was yesterday, yeah? Or the day before?
It was Wednesday.
Yeah. And Senator Dana Morris Dixon, I find her to be such an effective communicator. And I wondered if the Prime Minister, if it is, as the rumors are being bandied about, that he intends to make a switch.
Shuffle.
Yes, where the information portfolio is concerned. That's a rumor. You know, there's no confirmation that that's going to actually happen. But if the Prime Minister is so minded, I think Senator Morris Dixon would be a good option. I find her likable, clear. I mean, the video I saw, she was dispelling some myth or some lie regarding MIDS. And then I saw her explaining much of why that video or whatever was circulating was a lie. And I thought she did such a good job. And I wondered if a Minister of Information, Skills and Digital Transformation would be such a bad idea.
I mean, it seems to naturally fuse the two things.
Could work.
But I wonder, you've given her a task to essentially build up what is a still not fully formed ministry.
Oh, in terms of skills, okay, and digital transformation.
So do you want to now give her the added burden of the information portfolio? Because one of the problems I had with that portfolio was I always felt that it should be standalone. That the only
it shouldn't be tacked on.
Yes,
I recall you telling me
the
that.
only purpose that the Minister of Information should serve is to provide information, and that should be his raison d'etre, so to speak.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of having it now and then tacked on to another ministry, which created problems in the past.
Okay, I see that. I suppose my point is I like Senator Morris Dixon.
Who doesn't? She's definitely an energetic character.
Yeah. Prime Minister could consider that. But I take your point about perhaps being a standalone. Richard, good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen. One of my concerns is about the Green Bay killing, right? Has anything came out of that, and was the family compensated? Was there an apology made to the country, even though they said there was no angel who died there?
Green Bay, that was the 1970s?
In the 1970s, yes.
I believe there was a commission of inquiry. But I can't tell
I
you.
don't know. I didn't heard of that.
Yeah, I think there was a commission of inquiry. Let me just look up. I think there was. Hold on. But continue while I look it up.
Yes, because the Coral Garden, with under the time of Shearer, Andrew Hollis did apologize and give some compensation to them, right?
That is correct. At least compensation was announced. I can't say as to whether it was completed, but it was announced at the time.
Yes. So shouldn't the people from that era get some compensation? Because it's a blot in our history, you know.
Well, why do you raise that now? Why do you?
No, because the fact of the matter is, we look at the high crime rate that is going on in our country, and it brings me back to that, And then there was one minister who was asked when a shipment of gun was brought into the country, what was it for? To shoot wild rabbits and doves. And I said, I don't know Jamaica having wild rabbits, So it's just that we have a bad past, and I would want to see we go back there, Because if we forget our history, we end up making the same mistake again.
So I have accessed the commissions of inquiry from the 1970s. The first one I'm seeing is 1973. But I'm not seeing Green Bay. Am I missing it?
That would be 1978.
I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing one about the state of emergency of 1976.
Yes, I'm aware of that one, yes.
No, so I stand corrected. I'm not seeing a commission of inquiry into Green Bay. Am I missing it? No, I'm not seeing one.
But is it too late for that to happen now, and the family who are still alive be compensated?
Richard, to your point, it's one of those things, the political past that we've had that requires, I believe it was Peter Phillips who said a
truth and reconciliation.
A truth and reconciliation, as they had similarly in South Africa. It's one of those many things in our past that needs to be addressed and properly addressed that I don't think we've actually come to terms with.
Yeah, no, I agree. Especially from that period of the 1970s through to the 1980s.
That's one of the main reasons I brought it up, because I think those people, family deserve some compensation.
Yeah. So what I'm finding, Richard, is that an official report was released by the military, but I'm not seeing anything confirming that there was a commission of inquiry. So I stand corrected
but
there.
Remember what happened in Tivoli when Bruce was Prime Minister? They had an inquiry and the people, they were compensated, right?
Was there compensation?
I think some people were, yeah.
So those people are not different from these people because they're family, and they need to be treated with dignity and some humanity,
All right.
Okay, gentlemen, have a good night.
Yeah, man. 630-937-124, 618-882-55. Those are the numbers to call. Yeah, I mean, we should have a truth and reconciliation commission. And because there are some people, for example, who hold prominent positions now in the Jamaican society, who the history tell us may have been involved in, at best, let me put it as best as I can, questionable.
I think the proper term you're looking for would be considered acts of terrorism today.
I put it no stronger than I put it no stronger than questionable. Activities that around that time when so many people were radicalized and the ideological wars were, at fever pitch.
I mean, and we cannot discredit, there are still the obvious signs of interference from outside forces in the Jamaican political system of the 1970s.
No, absolutely. So a lot of truth telling is necessary and reconciliation, because I think even though we've just moved on, and we sort of move on from a lot of those things, and I don't think we've ever actually faced them as a society.
That's true.
Yeah, so it may be necessary. I'd support it.
And it's strange because we are credited with being one of the most stable democracies now today, having
which I think is to our eternal credit,
But yet we've done so without addressing the underlying, the foundation upon which it was built, and that needs to be shored up.
Yeah. Faithful, good evening.
Good evening, Siobhan. Good evening, Ricardo.
Hey.
Yeah, I was at a function yesterday, and like all functions, more often than not, the political spin take place. And I was almost persuaded as part to Agrippa. The argument that Mr. Tufton have a funeral place in Spanish Town. His personal funeral place, funeral parlor, funeral parlor in Spanish Town. And he took away all the dead from the various places in Kingston and St. Catherine that used to hold dead, and took them to his own personal funeral place. And I was convinced. And then I heard that Tufton on the radio this morning were disputing that. It seemed to me that misinformation are so evasive on the internet, and there's no good counteraction to it. I'm thinking to myself, the reason why this government win election the last time, they have a good platform on the internet where they were able to spread their messages. But it seems to me like that all of them disappear.
Well, I think you have to remember, the last time we really, 2016 and then 2020. 2020, I think, to a lesser extent. But 2016, I think it's a different time for social media. I think the platforms have become so splintered. It's kind of hard to have any kind of handle on communication across all the platforms. Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, WhatsApp. It would be difficult for any government to have, a handle on it all. And it's not just Jamaica. It's all over the world that happens.
The difference is this. They disappear from the space completely. While I think more.
So you're saying you don't think the government is communicating at all on these spaces? I don't think that's true.
You don't think that's true?
No, man. They communicate. Right. They communicate. I mean, I suppose you're right. The effectiveness of it.
That's exactly what I'm talking.
Yeah.
They were so much more effective in 16 and 20. Now they lost the effectiveness now. More.
But also, remember, there's another part to it, Faithful. The lies seem so much more appealing.
Exactly, that's where I'm going.
And it's a sad reflection on us as a people,
But
whenever the lies go out there and the truth is put forward, the truth doesn't spread as far and it doesn't go as wide.
So therefore, I think where the answer lie, when the lie gone out, as somebody once said, lies spread around the world faster than truth can put on its shoes.
Yeah.
They take too long to counteract the lie that's out there, and by the time they get out there, the lie becomes true to the heart of much more people.
But one of the problems, though, Faithful, is that social media is a very interesting environment where it allows someone almost the freedom to ignore sources of information that they do not want to hear.
Yeah, you can just lock yourself in a bubble.
So when you are keyed into, say, a specific political party and the narrative of that political party, social media affords you the ability to simply shut out information from the other side. It's not something accorded to you in actual reality, but it's something that social media has essentially championed.
Exactly. And the thing is this. Where I think the information minister, in my view, I think information, whether for the party or for the government, to be they are the salesperson. And you're supposed to have information who can sell the program or sell the work or sell whatever, effectiveness. And in my view, that is very much lacking also. And in time past, the government was very good at selling this program. All I see now is on the Anjo selling the program, and the rest of everybody is gone sleep. And the other time, in time past when Anjo could sell it by himself, but I don't think he alone can do it. He need a whole lot more help, and in my view, that's what he's not getting.
So you want to see a more team approach?
Without that, they cannot make it.
All right, Faithful.
And the team is not very effective around him.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that, but all right. Thanks, Faithful. Wise Emissary is asking, lies are appealing to whom, Ricardo? You just look on any social media platform, Wise Emissary, and you'll see how people gravitate to lies. And sometimes the lies are so easily proven as lies. If somebody just go read, if somebody just Googles, but they run with it anyway. Yeah? And it's sad. It's sad. It's sad.
Definitely.
Leslie, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, you're faithful. They're talking to you about communication.
Mm-hmm.
But misinformation will lead us right to hell. Because what you having now, I see we are an nefarious individual, he and his.
No. Withdraw that.
All right, I'll take it back. But basically, actions give people certain definition. I see we are attacking the Member of Parliament, Moreland Wilson in Western Westland, that the Member of Parliament has given 9 black tank to a man down there.
Yes.
And the man say, him not get no tank from the MP and buy 9 tank.
Yes.
For $504,000.
Mm-hmm.
That would work out for $56,000 per tank.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in yesterday's Observer, and then bring it in today's Star too. And the man is even contemplating legal action.
Yes, man, we know the story. What's the point you're making?
Yeah, when you have social media and it embark on those type of propaganda and it reach gullible people, that is the danger we face.
Yes.
But you see, those people in Westland, they don't learn. And when I look at it, I remember what happened to our MP named Luther Buchanan in Southeast Centre and the GLP caretaker Danfoot that him defeated in an election. And the two of them end up in a scuffle and in tear of Danfoot's shirt. And you remember what was the result? They decided to compromise their share the constituency development fund money 50-50.
What? Where you get that from?
It was in the press, man. Anything we talk, I say, go, me can find in I observe and show you. After the election that Danfoot lost to Luther Buchanan, because plenty people in media, they don't know politics or what.
No. But you made a claim a while ago about sharing the constituency development money 50-50.
Yeah, man, that was the compromise they arrived at. And it was in the media at the time, but many of the people memory short.
Yeah, I don't remember that. And we don't have any evidence of that.
All right, so you don't remember that.
We don't have any evidence of that.
People don't remember, and some people don't know. So who have information at their disposal?
But what's the point you're making? What's the point you're making about? What's the point you're making about the tanks?
The point I'm making is that they can play a game for those people down in Westmoreland. Because they only love one thing, PNP. So PNP can draw all kind of card upon them.
All right, Leslie. Thanks for the call. 630-937-124, 618-8255. Cleveland?
Yes, sir. How are you doing? And Siobhan.
Evening, Cleveland.
Good evening to you both.
Wasn't Luther Buchanan from Eastern Westmoreland? Yeah, he said something about Santana a while ago. Yeah, I have no idea what Leslie's talking about without having evidence of that. Yes, Cleveland.
The gentleman asked about Green Bay if anybody get compensation.
Yes.
I don't think so. I don't hear it. And even with the state of emergency too. One thing, the pimpy, they get away with a lot of these type of things that they do to people, especially to the JLP people. And nobody mention these things. But if you notice, the pimpy will carry the thing about the Coral Garden. Because what? That on record, that was done under the Bustamante, I think. I'm not sure Shearer was the person.
What?
At the time.
What was that?
He's talking about the Coral Gardens.
Yes.
Yes, that was Bustamante, yes.
You see? And then live on that one, but then forget about all of the atrocities where they do to other people. The Green Bay, the state of emergency, and Port Valley get
but
one of the hardest lick from them.
You know what it says, Cleveland?
Mm-hmm.
That there is no monopoly, and we should try our best to stop as a country to try to one up by saying, oh, but you did worse. And as Siobhan said, perhaps what is needed is for everybody to just accept that there has been terrible wrongs done throughout our history, and people need to own.
Them need to own it.
On both sides, Cleveland. On both sides.
On
both sides need to own where wrong has been done.
The JLP own
Coral Garden. Okay,
Garden.
all right, I can give you that one. Fair.
Right? Mm-hmm. They own it, and they're never talking about who was right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But the other people, you don't hear nothing from them. Nothing. That's it. And some people beat some hard time through those things. That's it. You know, as I hear you talking about this school, what is happening in the school these days, are out on the street by the schoolers.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 15-year-old grandson. Well,
yes, you always talk about it.
15.
Yes.
In go Calabar. But, and I can see that some of the problem that is happening now is have to do with the homes they are from.
Mm-hmm.
Right? No. I don't see my grandson going out to the street, go no fight with nobody, you know.
You wouldn't expect that from him?
No, but the thing is that we set proper example in the home. I have two grown-up son in the house, and he will never hear me and them having a quarreling.
Mm-hmm.
We don't. Maybe just we may disagree on issue, but at the same time we don't have no quarrel.
So you set a proper example for him?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what is lacking in many of the homes nowadays.
You see? We reason with our grandson, both father, uncle, and him have him uncle, them we must say him uncle, because say uncle, whatever their name is, and things like that. And we just have that type of respect. You see, and we reason with him, talk with him, and, you know, just about anything. And him know that him need to have respect for his family and a whole.
Yeah.
You see, and I think that is what is lacking in the system these days. Young people having children, and the children are growing up so fast on them that some of them forget that they are mother and father.
Yeah. Can't say I disagree with you, Cleveland.
You see, and that thing creating a lot of problem. But I don't agree that they should close the school. You're making them have more power.
No, man, I think that
those who I can identify as the wrong door.
But you see, Cleveland, that's a problem, no, and that's the point. I said it to Principal Jones, and he agreed that there is this, honor. Yeah, you feel like your school community has been attacked. It might be hard for you to say we're going to isolate Siobhan and Ricardo, and then Andrew and Dana say no, it wasn't Siobhan and Ricardo's fault, or for them fault. So I get why he's saying that. Allow the tension to just kind of cool.
I don't agree.
All right.
I think they must pick out these people who are making the trouble and put them at one side of the world.
Yeah.
And make the decent children them continue in school. Like robbing them of some special extra lessons.
Yeah.
Extra teaching. You see? But I don't know. Something needs to be done to the home where they're coming from. And parents, men or mothers love them boy picnic and then spoil them like them think them a dolly. You see? Yes, if you watch some mothers sometimes with their boys especially, I don't know, they just treat them in a different way, man.
All right,
and don't grow them up with love, but still you must be strict on them.
All right, Cleveland.
Okay.
You might have a good one. Carl?
Evelyn.
What a gone?
Midday, my brother. I agree with Cleveland with that one. They say mother them petty boy pity them too much.
Shaman, you mother petty?
I am a mama's boy to the core of me, but I can tell you this one thing for certainty. My mother did not slack when it came to discipline.
Yeah, me have one son that told me mother same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, I heard one comrade today from St. Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to speak of the house.
I was Travis. I think I heard Travis. That was this morning on Cliffviews Online.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he want to draw Mr. Hughes into serious problem. But he wings of the People's National Party Integrity Commission. And then send over 5 seal envelope.
The wing of the People's National Party?
Remember Greg Christie?
Carl, the Integrity Commission is not a wing of the People's National Party, and you know that. You know that, Carl.
I'm not sure about that. I'm sure if you say, boy, I know about so them is a wing.
Carl, the Integrity Commission is not a wing of the People's National Party.
Did you remember the day when time the gunman shoot?
Yes, I do remember that. And despite that unfortunate utterance, Carl, despite the unfortunate utterance from the Executive Director, the Integrity Commission is not a wing of the PNP. Continue.
The man was there this morning and he talk and he tried to jar Mr. Hughes, and Mr. Hughes point out to him, tell them come off. All right. The other wings them of the People's National Party.
Carl, it's not no other wing. What is wrong with you?
Pushing the
Stop, Carl, stop. It's not no other wing. If you're going to talk about the actual wings of the PNP, do that.
The human ranks them then.
Oh, God.
The human ranks them then.
The human rights lobby groups.
Human Rights Lobby Group.
The Human Rights Lobby Group. Yes, Carl, what about them?
You notice how we've been calling and talking about 2 caretakers which are supporting the People's National Party. 2 of them involved in some land problem. And no arms of the human ranks. Now decide if you take it up all now yet. And you know, hear nothing from the human ranks then. Nothing. Them is silent. Silent. And those are the things why people don't have no much. And I think it was Tuesday morning. I hear Light B. Smith said something on Nationwide Tuesday morning. Said the talent of the JLP, the government don't have much to choose from. I wonder if Light B. Smith pants it till I jump off in Parliament. Does he talk such rubbish? Because if he could have thought that rubbish, if you take a look over in PNP and look at it, show me talent over there. Show me the talent over there. Light B. Smith. Hardly there is nothing golden say when anybody can believe it. Hello?
We're hearing you, Carl. We're hearing you.
And if you want, we take something then. The budget speech not done with yet. We're still in for some more. He's saying that I go bring up the threshold to $3 million. And I know, here none of the human ranks them come out and say,
But what does human rights lobby groups have to do with Mr. Golding's? Ricardo. But what does Mr. Golding's suggestion of bringing it to 3 million have to do with human rights lobby groups?
Ricardo, if I did a JLP said something like that, it with every day you hear them.
Okay, so you think they're biased?
Then I not think we know them biased.
All right, Carl.
Anything concerning the Jamaica Labour Party.
All right, Carl. I want to give somebody else a chance. Have a good one.
Before we go to the next caller, I do have a question regarding Integrity Commission. Where is its commissioner, Mr. Greg Christie? Where is its executive director?
At work, I assume.
Have you heard head or tail from that man since 2023?
I think it's good that he's not saying anything. He should just do his job.
But I find it strange. I know the commission has met, and it's always been the 3 commissioners, but I've not seen the executive director. Yeah, I've not seen the executive director.
That's good. That's good. I think he should just be quiet and do his job. Yeah, that's good. 630-937-124, 618-8255. Sorry, somebody was holding and it dropped, so sorry about that. Those are the numbers to call. 5 reports have been submitted to the Parliament.
Yes.
With indicative rulings.
with their indicative rulings.
I know your sourcing is good. You know what the reports are about?
I understand that.
Here we go.
I can't speak definitively, but I understand the reports are regarding the usual failure to file statutory declarations.
Okay. And do you know if it relates to any politicians or?
No, I'm not sure about that, but to my understanding, it does not relate to any politicians.
Siobhan Campbell, ace parliamentary reporter. All right. And the House of Representatives, when do they resume their sitting?
I'm not sure, but I believe it should resume next week.
Okay. Billa, good evening.
Yeah, man. Good night. Good evening, Rose.
Mm-hmm.
Siobhan and Sabrok.
Yes, man.
2 callers ago before Cleveland, the Virgin that talked about some incident to take place. And the man them right what I'm saying, but sometimes it's because of the man them figured all of the incident. The PNP, there are a lot of things and I always get there. Mr. Warmington make a speech and people are killing, but then Aluma, Asamba, tell us that them decide to put people at them, pack up the board.
Yes, I recall that.
And the only reason
comment.
for that is to have them agenda going. Show him again. The education minister from
Mrs. Williams? Oh, Maxine. Former education minister.
Farmer, right. So farmer. Tell us the politics is about who get what, when and where. As simple as that says. PJ partition go again when I remember if it's a local government election, one by-election thing. And PJ tell them that, Prime Minister had say, listen, on the door thing, you know. And we ask that on a redeem myself because I'm going to make on a social to wooden spoon. Now, people remember them things. Now, go back again with the atrocity the JLP had made about the Carroll Garden thing. You have Green Bay. You have the Orange Lane fire. You have an incident on South St. Elizabeth. You have the Eventide home. Listen. You can call, just because I'm tell you, sir, people like Cleveland, we are going to open our ears.
All right, so let me ask you, as an older person, the Evening Tide home fire, my best reading of history is that they never quite figured out who was to blame for that. Well, no, I'm saying that's your official reading that I've seen.
Yeah, but we know.
Okay.
We know. I'm not more than one, nothing.
Okay. All right.
Right, you know.
Okay.
Maybe they're close to them. Anyway.
Okay.
So the essence of women actually is like the PNP tend to get away with things and people and pursue it. So if you stand back and listen to people talk about the two parties in the country, you don't think the JLP are the wickedest thing. The wickedest thing.
I did, I made that point some time ago that when I was growing up, there certainly was, in my young consciousness, this idea that to be a Labourite was a terrible thing. I can agree with you on that there was propaganda that sort of setting that suggested that to me. Yes, I can agree with you that. I don't know if that was a deliberate.
I'm going to tell you that a whole heap of people out there.
Yeah.
Hey, I can get an incident where a person I know used to drive past, go to North Street and go up Spanish Road and go down Industrial Terrace. And somebody out there got the driver. I said, where I drive? And she said, where did I drive? I said, you're not past garden. She said, no, man. So the man said, wait, all right, let me, you go down North Street. You then go up on Spanish Road and then turn down Industrial Terrace. The road where carry back from Marcus there. And she said, yeah. The man said, then them building the waste in a garden that. And she said, yeah, garden that. Well, stop driving down there. And she drive for years and nothing ever wrong with that. That's the starter, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Mindset with people.
Condition.
GLP.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I blame the GLP people, you know. Seriously. I blame them because you have people out there like Carl. Carl come and him talk and him keep say something because distraction and make the time run out. No come with the human wrong thing and the wing of the witness. You can't make your point and it's effective without a call distraction.
I agree with that.
And at that, me blame with the GLP. Them no how to pierce them argument in the brains of the PNP. Make them know so after. When they come with things, we can come back to no. And deal with that. Now deal with the personality. Deal with that.
Deal with the point, the substance of the point.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And at them thing, them the GLP needs to get them act together.
All right.
Tell you that. Yes, I.
Here, my brother. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, man. Respect.
Yeah, I mean, the consensus seems to be that it's a communication issue.
On the part of the JLP?
Yeah.
But how much communication can you do to those who are unwilling to listen?
That's the point. Yeah, that's the point. But I take his point, though, that don't deal with the distractions. Stay on message. Say what you have to say. Say it clearly. Stay on message. I agree with that. Yeah.
But at some point, you have to play politics for politics.
And that's what he's saying. You can play the politics, but play the politics with the truth, the hard truth. Don't get distracted by the side shows, yeah? On both sides. That's all the time we have. Special thanks to our producer, Dana. What's your last name again? Davis? What's your name? Delhi?
Dana Davy. We love you, Dana.
Andrew and Anderson. You have to watch. You see, you watch the whole thing. The whole thing, Bugs. But you never watch. The whole thing you watch. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Good night.
The Olympic Games 2024 live from Paris in France.